Okay, this is session 3 of Cthulhu Dark, the history of Mercy Falls. I want to do our CATS procedure. That's CATS, concept, aim, tone, and subject matter. The concept of Cthulhu Dark, for those of you who haven't played it, is a very, very rules-light Cthulhu mythos game, Lovecraftian mystery game. It's meant to tell Call of Cthulhu type stories, but like with a much slimmer mechanical profile. This particular series that we're doing is looking at this town in Washington State called Mercy Falls, and looking at 4 distinct moments in time in the history of the town. Our session this morning is going to be 1967, during an art craze taking place in Mercy Falls. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. The aim for today is to finish the mystery. I have a schedule for 4 hours so that we can finish. I can't finish Cthulhu Dark in 3 hours, so I always have to schedule an extra. And the tone is, this one I'm going to go for kind of a dreamy tone. Dreamlike, otherworldly, surreal, a little bit more than like real hard horror, I guess. I suspect there'll be some dark elements and there'll be some kind of like creepy things, but I think I'd like for it to have a very like dreamlike tone overall. Subject matter wise, we'll have the X card in play. The X card, the way we use it on Gauntlet Hangouts is you just say X card, or you put up this symbol with your hands, and we will stop and change whatever just happened if something takes place that makes you uncomfortable in an unfun way. Otherwise, I put a hard line on certain things like sexual assault. I don't ever want that in the games, and I'm not particularly fond of violence towards animals and children either. So those are my hard lines. Does anybody have any anything they want to put out there about subject matter that they would like to not see or do? Okay, then we will get going. Let me tell you about the setup for this mystery. So it's 1967. The town of Mercy Falls for the last 3 years has been kind of caught up in this art, I don't know if it's an art movement, but it's definitely like a sort of art happening. It is a multimedia exploration of this particular theme, and it's called Dreams of the Yellow City. And basically what happens is, for weeks at a time, each year that it's happened, for weeks at a time, the town is caught up in this sort of like town-wide, almost like living art experiment where scenes from a play are being performed throughout the city randomly. People are doing paintings, music, that sort of thing. It has not really reached beyond Mercy Falls much until now. And your characters are coming to Mercy Falls to either investigate this strange art happening, or they can be there to be investigating the disappearance of a young painter named Patricia Ross, who came to Mercy Falls last year for this and has not been heard from since. So that's our sort of creative constraint in terms of your characters. But they're all outsiders. Nobody can be from Mercy Falls. So you have to be somebody there to investigate this, somebody there to investigate the specific disappearance of Patricia Ross, or and also I think one of you definitely needs to know Patricia Ross well enough to recognize her by sight and voice. Okay, so those are the constraints I'm putting on character creation. To create your characters, all you have to do, if you look at the sheet, all you have to do is choose a name, choose your character's occupation, and that can be, there's a pretty broad definition there, just kind of anything that might have a set of skills associated with it. And that's it. I just think a little bit about like what they look like, what their bearing is, their personality and that kind of thing. I'll give you guys a few minutes to discuss that and make your characters. I'm going to go refresh my coffee in the meantime, okay?
So I'm thinking FBI agent. I know that's kind of generic, but
I think that can work. What kind of agent again?
FBI. If it's disappearance, it could be assumption that she was kidnapped. So it's
yeah.
like
yeah, Oh, that works.
Yeah. Were the FBI the ones who also were involved in the un-American activities investigations, or is that a different agency?
Yeah. Yeah, that would be and it's exactly the timeline. So
Is it? Yeah, 67.
no, I mean 60 in general, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
uh,
I'm
at
thinking
least from what I know.
What's the era again? Is it this?
Summer of Love?
67?
Or is that 60? Yeah, 67.
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe a sort of gonzo journalist in the style of Hunter S. Thompson who's been sent to cover the festival.
Nice.
Is he coming with his own personal pharmacy, or?
I imagine he probably something went wrong at the airport and he has to reacquire a pharmacy.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, but does anyone actually know, what was her name again? Something Ross?
Patricia Ross.
Patricia Ross.
I'm thinking maybe, yeah, like maybe I'm thinking maybe, so if Patricia Ross was involved in art prior to coming to Mercy Falls, I want to say maybe I am like another art student. Maybe I had a crush on her in school, and so I'm kind of almost like stalking her, and I've heard, and I kind of want to try and find her.
I love that. I only heard part of that, but it sounds great to me.
That's cool.
All right, let's go down that route.
Right.
Okay, so we have the FBI agent. We have a friend who knows her. Who did you say you were again, Tom?
I haven't decided a name yet, but just the kind of new journalism kind of coverage.
And Jason, how much you need our characters to be connected to each other?
Not at all. You don't have to be.
Okay, so
you're all going to be put together very quickly. Don't worry about that. So what are you guys choosing for characters? What are you guys thinking so far?
So I was thinking about FBI agent.
Okay.
She disappeared, so it's feasible that someone could come down, assuming that this is kidnapping.
Sure. Yeah. Sounds good to me. David, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that I might just be like someone who's here to experience this, like this whole art craze. Like I am here to like for that express purpose. So would you consider that investigating it enough?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Just as long as that's what drew you to the town. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Just give yourself an occupation of some sort.
Yeah, I think like I'm basically a hippie. Like I'm just here to play a tambourine.
Okay. I love it. All right, so musician. It sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Awesome. Mache, so you've got an FBI agent. Tom, who are you playing?
Yeah.
I'll be playing a gonzo journalist who has been sent by, what's a good magazine to be working for? Rolling Stone or Atlantic?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess it depends on what kind of coverage we're talking about. Like,
I mean, who used to hire Hunter S. Thompson? Esquire. He used to write for. Yeah, maybe that.
I think that's probably right. Yeah, you can make up a magazine too. It doesn't have to be a real one.
Okay, then I'll make up an Esquire equivalent called Monsieur.
I love it. That's good. Yeah. And Tomer, what are you playing?
So I think her name's going to be Holly, and I think she's also an art student. Maybe she was a little bit younger than Patricia back in school, and I think she just kind of had a crush on Patricia, and it was probably unrequited, and I'm thinking maybe it's almost like got a little bit of a stalking feel.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. Kind of a single white female kind of thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I'm into that. Cool. So just note your occupation there and name on David's character. Cool. Awesome. That's good. Let's do character introductions. David, do you have a name?
I'm still thinking of one.
Okay. All right. Tom, I'll just go in the order of the sheet then. Tomer, just introduce your character, kind of by name, outlook, appearance, that kind of thing.
Sure. So Holly is obviously biracial, probably some mix of like, it almost looks like maybe like half white, half black, something, right? She's pretty American, grew up a little bit on the West Coast, and has traveled around since then. Where's Patricia from, actually?
I hadn't thought about it. Where do you think? Yeah, California, somewhere, wherever you're from is fine.
Yeah, let's do that then.
Right, cool.
So,
West Coast, or
yeah, maybe some kind of like California suburb, out of one of the big cities. I don't know, San Francisco,
Riverside, or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Cool. It's enough just to know the West Coast. So you're an art student. Any particular medium that you work in?
I think originally, does Patricia have a specific medium?
Patricia was a painter.
Okay, so I think originally Holly was somewhat undecided and all over the place, and once she met and kind of had a crush on Patricia, she started doing what Patricia was doing. So I think Holly's answer would be, yeah, I'm an aspiring painter.
Aspiring painter, good. All right, I love it. Thank you, that's great. And if anybody else has any questions during this, you can just jump in there. Tom, tell us about Raoul Herzog, please.
Raoul Herzog is a gonzo journalist of some ill repute who, his style is the living the experience rather than necessarily reporting the facts kind of thing. And he writes, long reads for various pretty big ticket magazines. And this time is covering the festival for Monsieur magazine, which is published in New York. Though in theory, he lives in like Colorado or somewhere, but he travels around so much, it's kind of a moot point where his house actually is. And appearance-wise, he's quite heavily tanned, often sunburnt, white guy with, I think, a receding hairline and a fondness for quite vividly striped bowling shirts as his everyday attire.
I love it. I'm good. That's great. Thanks. David, tell us about Rain Patchouli, please.
Rain Patchouli is not her given name. It is a name she has chosen for herself. She is a self-determining flower child. She will do whatever she wishes to do in this world. And what she wishes to do is see what this hip new thing is all about, man.
That sounds good. And I should mention that, it's still very, very unclear and nebulous what Dreams of the Yellow City precisely entails. Not many people have been talking about it. That's probably one of the main reasons why Raoul is there, right? To really bring it to the people, right? Open this thing up big time. So good. I love it. I see drug peddler as well. I assume pot, LSD.
Yeah, it's usually just kind of like a favor for favor kind of thing. So saying drug dealer's a little too sinister. I just peddled my stuff to the people, man.
More of a barter situation. Okay, good. I love it. Mate, tell us about Special Agent William Carter, please.
Oh, he's about 30 years of age, so still youngish. He had few good cases, but nothing spectacular. And he's still looking for his big case that will allow him to go upwards. He's from classic WASP background, so nice house in the suburbs and, all American family. So he is coming here with very clear assumptions about what is happening and who will be here.
Yeah. I mean, federal agent in the 60s, right? Like,
yeah,
you were very anti-communist. Well, it was very anti-communist, very, like very untrusting
yep.
of the movement, all that stuff. Yeah, it's perfect. Good. I'll tell you what you know at the outset about Patricia Ross. All you know is that she came to Mercy Falls about a year ago, not quite a year ago. She was there for some time. Eventually, she just stopped communicating with her family, and this was not a completely unusual thing for her, but it got to be like long enough to where people started to ask questions, so now they think it's a missing person thing. So that's kind of what you know about that at the outset. You'll know all those same things as well, Holly. So just know that. Cool. I don't have any other questions. We'll learn the game as we play. For those of you who've never played it, it's very simple, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. Does anybody have any other questions before we begin?
This is like an incredibly cold case. Like, is this a punishment for William?
It's a good question. You're muted, Mache.
Yeah, I think that maybe he has some people that don't like him, and he was pushed to this case. But he's hoping to solve it and to make his and maybe not. He's not really coming to solve this case. He's coming to like find something else in the process, right? Because this whole art festival, there's surely some anti-government and anti-state activity happening there. So
yeah, there's got to be commies involved, right? Let's just get right down to it. So good.
Yep.
Good. Anything else? No. Right. You have each been in town in Mercy Falls for maybe different periods of time, but less than a couple days. Okay, like you're all fairly recent arrivals in town. And the area around Mercy Falls, it's mountainous. It's covered with lots of very tall, old coniferous trees, and the town itself is basically just a main thoroughfare that kind of just like cuts through, like a clear cut of trees, like 100 years ago. Just a main thoroughfare, with shops and businesses and things like that. And then little side roads that go out to people's property, right? Like there are just little tiny clusters of places where people live. It's not like a lot of like domestic sprawl around the main thoroughfare, right? So you have to drive a little ways to get where people live, is what I'm getting at. This is the Pacific Northwest, so it's often misty and a little rainy. The town itself was originally an old camp town on the Oregon Trail, and it kind of grew up from there. Okay. You're each staying at a hotel and bar called the Egyptian Palace. And as you are all, I think you're all assembled in the bar part of the Egyptian Palace separately, or maybe you've, struck up conversations with each other already. I don't know. It's up to you guys. You can handle it however you wish. But you're all in the bar of the Egyptian Palace having a drink. It's around 5 o'clock. I would like to know from each of you, the Egyptian Palace is so named because it is decorated with very gauche, kitsch Egyptian motifs, right? It looks like like a bad, shoddy, like Las Vegas hotel situation or something, right? Very, very shoddy Egyptian motif all throughout. And yet the Egyptian Palace also has distinct signs that it is part of a small town in the Pacific Northwest. As you are each cradling your drink, 3 pieces of information. What are you drinking? what do you see in the bar that is a reminder of why this place is called the Egyptian Palace in terms of the decor or whatever? And what do you see that is a reminder, or what do you experience that is a reminder that this is just a shitty hotel and bar in a crummy little Pacific Northwest town? Whoever wants to go first.
Okay, so I'm sitting near the table in the corner, so I have a good view of everyone. I'm dressed maybe in something more casual than usual. Usually, I'm trying to blend in a bit as far as it's possible for me. I'm drinking um, scotch, I think. And as for something that shows off that this is this place for what it really is, I think that all that gilt and all that nice decorations there, kind of, the paint is peeling off here and there because it was a cheap paint, something like that, and it's already coming off from
So
place.
there was cheap gold paint to give the illusion of an Egyptian palace,
Yeah.
what it means. And you see it flaking off to the wood underneath. Good,
Yeah.
I like it. Rain Patchouli.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Is there anything else you want to add? I'm going to jump away. Okay. Rain Patchouli. Tell me what you see and what are you drinking?
So I'm walking around with bare feet, and this carpet is like imitation something. Like it's trying to be something Egyptian, but it's not. It's not at all. Especially
Like
we
some
can
kind of silk or something, or
yeah, it's trying to be an Egyptian rug, and it's not. Especially because you can feel little granules of things with your toes, like they haven't vacuumed it in a while. I'm drinking something fruity. I don't know, just as natural as I can get, but you know, whatever this town can offer, I guess. But as I'm walking around, and I've just kind of got my tambourine just kind of like on my hip right now. It's still just like clanking as I'm walking around a little. They just start to push like a TV on like one of those little carts, like a room just ordered a TV. They've only got a few. And they're trying to push it through here, and it gets snagged on the carpet, and the carpet gets pulled up in the wheels. I'm just like, piece of shit.
Good. Bro.
I'm drinking my third sea breeze of the afternoon, and
Third, that's good. Yeah.
With a big kind of slightly too large paper umbrella in it. The umbrella is orange, and I think the thing I like most about the decor in this room is the huge mural of, I guess, what is supposed to be a sort of Egyptian desert warrior. I mean, it bears a striking resemblance to Omar Sharif, the daubed kind of half-baked portraiture. This guy on a camel pointing towards the horizon. So that's probably it. And yeah, I've just been watching people, come and go in here because you can see out through to the reception area too. And there's this back room where every time someone comes in or out, they express their annoyance in a different way because the hinges on this thing went some years ago. So every time you have to kind of pull the latch, hoik it up, and then drag the thing open. And like if someone's trying to carry something under the other arm, they drop their papers, or like holding like two highball glasses between their fingers like this. And that's been a real cavalcade of human interest.
A cavalcade of human interest. I love it. It's good. Holly.
So Holly's drinking the same thing as Rain, only she remembers what it's called. It's called the Cleopatra, It's like
Nice.
one of the house kind of martini drinks or something, a little bit
Mhm.
fruity. It's got a
Mhm.
and an umbrella in it, which doesn't really mean anything Egyptian, but whatever. And she's standing next to one of the like bar decors, which is a little table, which looks kind of like a sarcophagus or
Nice.
something,
Good.
right? But what is kind of obviously cheap and shitty about it is, as she was leaning on the sarcophagus, like first of all, it's a lot. It doesn't even look like, it doesn't feel like a table. It has no heft to it, so it's kind of like got all the styrofoam underneath the paint, and I think she's accidentally kind of like cracked a piece of it. Like on the corner, you can see the white styrofoam kind of showing. And Holly's kind of looking around a little bit to make sure nobody sees that she's kind of broken one of the big props, in a little way.
I love it. Good. So you will all be aware of each other. Let's say you're the only people in the bar at this time. You might be the only guest in the hotel. It's only like an 8-room place, right? It's not even really a hotel. It's just kind of it used to be a boarding house, right? Does anybody approach anybody else in this scene? Or should I just continue with darkness and evil and mystery?
I think I'm going to approach Mr. Herzog.
Awesome. Let's have that scene.
Yeah, I'm going to approach his table, and Mr. Herzog, I'm enjoying your writing very much. Care if I join you?
Please be my guest. You want to get a refill on that drink of yours?
I'm nodding. William Carter. I'm here in work, unfortunately, but I hoped that maybe you've seen something that could help me. You seem to get in a lot of interesting places. I'm with the FBI.
Well, I think you're in the wrong place.
I'm looking for a painter, Patricia Ross. I don't know if you heard about her. She
Holly,
disappeared.
you can do that if you wish.
She disappeared a couple of months back in this town, and we are suspecting kidnapping. I hope that maybe you heard or seen something.
At this point, Holly is standing very close to you guys and just kind of sipping her drink, as if it's not unusual that somebody's standing close in this empty room.
Yeah. Well, now listen, Secret Agent Carter, I only just came into town myself. I hadn't heard of nobody called Ross or what have you. I'm just taking in the atmosphere and trying not to make eye contact with that stuffed crocodile out there in the foyer. But I believe at this point it's traditional. You give me your card and you tell me to call you if I find anything. So
yeah, I'm staying in room 157. So I'm pulling out my card and I'm writing down my room number. And you can also leave a message on me on reception or call field office in Seattle. So they will route the message to me. I'm handing him the card.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help overhearing. But who was this girl that you're looking for?
I'm looking at you inquisitively, and you are?
Hi. My name's Holly.
Hello, Holly. Do you know Patricia Ross? I'm
I heard of her.
How do you know her?
Oh well, I mean, you don't know her work. Have you studied her art at all? I mean, she's pretty amazing.
I'm listening. I'm not saying anything. I'm just looking at you with this piercing eye.
Has she done anything wrong? What have you heard? I mean, she's a close personal friend, and so I was hoping to see her while I'm here, and you've got me concerned.
Well, I'm looking for her, but I cannot discuss any details. If you know anything about her whereabouts, then you can contact me. I'm also handing her a card.
Before I continue, Rain, what are you doing during all this?
Like, I think there's only the four of us in here, and the three of them are talking.
And the barman who also owns the hotel. His name is Ronald Stahl. He inherited the place when his uncle went missing about 20 years
Seriously
ago.
missing.
It sounds about right. I'm just like, yeah, I'm probably talking to the barman because I don't trust that suit over there.
He'll just say he's youngish. He's probably like 25 or so, maybe around your age, right? Not bad looking. He's got the he's got kind of I think he's wearing like a little like black vest and bow tie, like while he's being barman, and pretty clean cut for this time period, right? But a good looking guy, square jaw, healthy. And he says, so what are you in town for Dreams of the Yellow City?
Oh yeah, man. What about you? Like, why don't you let your hair down a little bit? Why can't you just relax? You look so stiff.
It's like, well, ma'am, I've got a business to run. I mean, there's no one's going to keep the Egyptian palace going if I don't. So, I don't know. I guess I'm just into tradition, and this is what my uncle used to wear when he was tending bar. So this is it for me.
I'm like looking at the picture on the wall of the Egyptian warrior guy, and I'm like, why don't you wear something like that? That looks like that could be pretty comfortable. I don't know.
He's like, yeah, I guess it does look pretty comfortable, but I don't think the guests would take too kindly to me walking around half naked with nothing but a sarong wrapped around my waist.
Oh, you might be surprised about that. Maybe you'll get more money.
And he kind of smiles, and I think at that point, everyone in the bar will hear, you will hear didgeridoo music, like sort of like, wah, 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 you'll hear that.
Outback Steakhouse.
Right, yeah, very like, wah, 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 yeah. And then you'll hear like the strumming of some kind of tingy stringed instrument, maybe a sitar. And there's a group of people entering the bar area. This group of people consists of 3 people wearing like gold, sort of shapeless gold caftans, right? And gold masks on their faces. And then there's a woman who's dressed somewhat similarly, but a little more flashily. She has a similar, like, sort of shapeless gold gown, but like with all sorts of like rubies and emeralds, sort of costume jewelry, festooned all over it. And importantly, she has like a mask over her eyes and like a big headdress. And the barman, Ronald will point out to you and say, so you want me to dress like that guy, huh? And the 5th person in this group of people is a man who has almost no clothing on, just a loincloth, no shoes or anything else, just bare-chested, and wearing a brown wooden elk mask. And this group of people come in, and behind them there are some musicians. That would be the didgeridoo player and the sitar player. And the woman steps forward and she kind of like spreads her hands out before all of you and says, "The trial of Elb, a scene from Dreams of the Yellow City. I am the Yellow Duchess of the Yellow City, trying to save the life of my secret lover, Elb." And then she points over to the guy in the elk mask. "The muses are filling this space. They are filling your minds with the words. Who will participate in this production? And she goes over to you, FBI agent, Special Agent William Carter, and says, "A man of the law, you shall play the grand arbiter who will decide Elb's fate." And she turns to you, Holly, and says, "A woman driven by her passions, you shall mount a defense for Elb." And then she turns to you, Raoul, and says, "A man who tells the truth, you shall read the charges against my secret lover."
Honey, I'm strictly Greek chorus, okay?
And then that's it. And she says, "Please, please come forward." What do you all do?
I'm embarrassingly kind of looking at my compatriots here to see if one of them steps forward.
I'm furiously making notes.
Who will read the charges? You, sir. To you, Raoul. Close your eyes. Imagine the crimes committed by my lover, the traitor to the Yellow City, Elb. What has he done? Why is he standing on trial this day?
I'm finishing my drink and I'm asking, please, madam, are you under influence of psychedelic substances?
You see a smile spread across her lips, bearing in mind that you can't see her eyes. She has just this like yellow kind of like mask. It's almost like a blindfold or a cloth over her eyes. Presumably she can see out of it though, because she doesn't seem like she's stumbling around. And she says, "No, I am high on the spirits of the Yellow City, which consume us all during these days. Won't you open yourself up to them?"
I'm sighing and finishing my drink.
So I think at this point, Holly looks like she's kind of stepped forward as she was asked to do, but it's actually because she, there's these other girls that are in the gold masks, right? Or other people in gold masks, a couple of them.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah. So I think she's just kind of whispering to them like, Patty, is that you? Like just kind of to see if one of these people is maybe, her friend Patricia.
They're completely stone silent. They don't look at you. They don't turn. Their gold masks are somewhat like expressionless, and the eyes just staring like intently at the scene, almost like they're the audience, right? Maybe they're our chorus, so to speak, right?
I think the side effect is Holly's now like stepped onto the stage or something.
Indeed. The Yellow Duchess will say to you, she says, "Please, my lover's life is in your hands. Mount a defense. Why is he not guilty of treachery to the lords of the Yellow City?"
I think she's caught off guard a little bit. She looks a little flustered, but well, I think it's because Elb, he comes from a place of love, and even if he's made some mistakes, his heart is in the right place, and I think if you judge him on that, then you will know that means.
And they all turn and appear to be like silently conferring with one another, and there's some nodding of heads. What are you doing during all this time, Rain Patchouli?
Whenever Holly mounted her defense, like I just like jingled my tambourine and like in agreement.
Indeed.
But otherwise, I'm just like continuing to hit on the barman and like, yes, you should dress like that.
The barman seems particularly unmoved by all this. You get the impression, Rain, that like this is something that happens.
Yeah. I'd be asking him about it. Like, you know, when's the next one? Because I want to be here. I'm so into this.
He says you can't really predict it. They kind of just show up wherever. Honestly, this is a weird situation, right, Special Agent Carter?
Yeah, I'm going to ask barman about this. So, is this normal here? Who are these people?
He says, he's like, yeah. He's like, during Dreams of the Yellow City, stuff like this happens. Scenes, the plays. It's a play that happens all over the city for weeks at a time. It's got. I don't really understand it, if I'm being perfectly honest. I try to. I don't volunteer. Let's just say. But yeah, they won't leave until you pass judgment on this guy. Just so you know.
Is this like agreed by city council? Are those people high?
Hey, suit. You mind backing off a little bit? Your aftershave comes on strong.
I'll call over to the agent as well. Okay. Hey, buddy, I think you're on now.
And indeed, you are. The Yellow Duchess says. She kind of like in a very dramatic fashion, like kind of moves close to you, Special Agent Carter, and like has a pleading look on her, well, in her hands anyway. You can't really see her eyes. And she says, please, what is the sentence? Will my lover live or will he die?
Did you see Patricia Ross in the city? I'm asking her.
Oh, I'm going to yank him aside and go, listen, buddy, if you play along, you better get in with him a little bit later on, okay?
She's not answering, right?
There's a chance that you might notice something, you know, by throwing Patricia Ross's name out there. Presumably you're fishing around, right? Looking for some kind of reaction. Give me a roll. Let's see what you.
So,
so you get one die, and then you can probably get a second die because this sounds like something within your occupational expertise, right?
Okay. Sorry, not here. What I should roll?
If you need a die roller, I'll get you one. Hold on. Here's you can roll regular dice too if you have them, but
okay, I'm on this. Ooh, nice. So 2d6 and.
Yeah, it's 2d6 because you always get 1d6. And then you get a second d6 if
11, 5 and 6.
Hold on. You get a second d6 if what you're doing is within your occupational expertise. And if you wish, you can risk your insanity die. And we'll talk about sanity in a minute. But just roll 2. You can roll 2.
I'm going to be like I'm going to play it safe.
Sure. So on the 2 dice, what was your highest result?
Okay, so 6.
6 was the highest. Okay, so 6 means you're going to get like the best information possible, and you might even get a glimpse into knowledge that is not meant to be known to human beings, right? Like sort of like secret knowledge, right? That's what happens on a 6, and that means you might see something that causes your insanity to go up. So you're going to get best information.
Oh, great.
And when you mention Patricia Ross's name, there is a distinct, like, those 3 masked figures who are like the chorus or the audience or whatever. There's a distinct, like, they turn to each other, right? As soon as you say that name. And they begin to kind of like, they clearly look like a little agitated or bothered when you said that, right? And you notice that, like, there's clearly something, like you got some kind of reaction, right? And the barman, who may not have heard you talking about Patricia Ross before, he'll kind of like lean in and say, oh yeah, I know her. And he's like, she was renting a house over on Copperhead Trail.
Okay. Can you give me the precise address?
Yeah, he's like, yeah. He'll write it down. He'll kind of write it down for you.
I'm going to. I have like this, notebook. And
Indeed.
I'm flipping a page and writing down the details. So I'm going to try to. Maybe I'll try to take one of those people to the station.
Yeah, maybe. So you see they have this reaction. The scene continues on. If you don't participate in the scene, they will basically the Yellow Duchess will kind of narrate it all out, right? Like,
okay.
And it goes on at some length about like this story of the Duchess and her secret lover, and it goes on for a while. And you can pay attention to it as much as you wish or as much as you don't wish. It doesn't matter. It's not the details aren't super important, but they're performing this little thing between with the lover and the Duchess, kind of like playing off each other, doing soliloquies. None of it makes any sense, and you have no context to understand like what happened before or what's going to happen after, right? It's like you're missing like acts 1 and 2 and you're in the middle of act 3, right? It's strange. I want to just go around the table, and as this strange scene is wrapping up, I want to just know like what everyone is doing. Like, what are you all what are you thinking? What are you doing? Where are you proceeding from here? Once they're done, they're going to just leave. Rain.
I mean, like, this is what I came here for, so I'm thinking I'd probably want to follow these people out of here, get in with their band.
Okay, I'm into that. Raul.
Kind of the same, but for different reasons. But yeah, I'm chucking back the rest of my drink and tagging along, trying to make friends.
So you're gonna follow them as well. Good. What about you, Holly?
I think Holly's invested now, at least into figuring out what the judgment is going to be. I think when she started talking a little bit about defending Elb, she was kind of like defending herself and her reasons for why she was there. So, I think all of a sudden she's kind of like caught into it a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Special Agent Carter.
So I think I'm going to follow along. I was thinking about trying to pick one of those people up and taking them for interrogation, but they seem to be dragged. So I will ask Barman if he knows who those people are, like personally, in the city.
We can have that scene after they leave.
Okay, and no, but I want to just like ask him quickly, and if he can't give me anything, I'm going to follow them maybe in some distance, but I want to know what they are doing.
Yeah. He doesn't know who specifically is behind the masks. So, well, it's super interesting. As you are, are you all going out together, or are you all like kind of at different paces? You all like, are you making it known that you're following this group of people? Like, what's your approach?
I am. I assume like their little band would probably start up with music again as they're going out, and I would just find the rhythm and get in with them.
Yeah, that's good. So that's good. Your tambourine. You have a reason to. You're just playing. You're just joining it. I'm into that. That's good. Sounds like you're following at a distance, Carter. What about you, Raul?
I'm getting right up there in a more annoying way than Rain, like actually insisting on talking to the Duchess and apologizing for not taking part. But hey, where does a guy get a pack of cigarettes and some finger symbols around here?
Right, that's good. I love it. Yeah. And what about you, Holly?
I think Holly's just kind of looking uncomfortable or awkward. I would say awkward in the center of that group, but she's trying to make sense. That she's kind of like listening to even if it's kind of being thrust into the middle of a play, she's just trying to like listen to it, and I think she just doesn't want to miss what the judgment is, because she feels like, okay, well, I'm now responsible for part of how the judgment goes.
Yeah, it's good. It sounds like as they're leaving, they all leave and they're kind of like silent. They left the scene with basically the case being laid out and all, and what what Ilb is supposed to have done, and it was all like kind of like he was a traitor to the ideals of the Yellow City, or what that even means, and but no judgment has been passed, right? So we don't know what Ilb's fate is. But as they're all leaving, they leave as a group, the 5 figures plus a couple of musicians, about 7 or 8 people in total. They all leave. They all go out into the street, and let's pick up with Raoul and the Yellow Duchess. You're just trying to talk to her.
Yeah, trying to get an interview basically and find out what's the happening place to go in this happening.
She turns to you again. She has her, she has this headpiece and mask on, right? She hasn't broken. She breaks character though. She's not like staying in character the whole time. She says, "So you're from a newspaper or something?"
Sure am, or something. Monsieur magazine. Maybe you've heard of it.
I have heard of it. Yes,
Right.
yes. Kind of a lifestyle magazine.
Exactly. And I'm here in town to find out about your lifestyle. So, I want in. I want to see what you're doing. What's all the cool stuff? If you can hook me up with some recreational pharmaceuticals, that's also a-okay. And take me to your leader.
She seems a little like she finds you amusing, but she's clearly playing a little coy, right? And she will kind of say, "My name is Audra Maxwell. I'm an actress. I don't know if I feel comfortable talking to you, Mr. Herzog." This is as you guys are walking slowly down the sidewalk. "I don't know if I feel comfortable talking to you because, well, I saw the piece you did, your magazine did, a few years ago. You know the one I'm talking about." And she names some actress. "Bit of a hit piece, I thought. Character assassination. Why should I trust you?"
Well, here's the reason, okay? Bobby Zeisman is an a-hole, okay? It is to my eternal regret that he continues to work at Monsieur magazine, but unfortunately I'm not the editor and I don't do the hiring and firing. I'm on the road. I am a traveler, an explorer, and despite my bubbly persona, I take my work very seriously. I will paint a picture of this place to the best of my ability, except that if I don't see everything, then I can only paint a partial portrait. And you see, I want to do the very best I can.
Give me a roll. Let's see if you can convince her. So what are you going to...
That's within my gonzo journalism.
I think so, yeah. It's at least 2. Do you want to add your insanity die?
No, it's okay. 5.
5. Great. She says, "Well, if you want to know what's really happening, if you want to know about Dreams of Yellow City, you need to speak to our scribe, to the playwright, who happens to live here in town. His name is Ambrose St. John."
I am writing this down both in and out of character.
"His name is Ambrose St. John, though I'll confess I don't know where he stays in town. Only that he meets us at the Gem Theater on occasion to give us our words."
Fascinating. So he's kind of a recluse. How did you get the audition?
She says, "Well, let's just say I made a very good impression on Mr. St. John. He saw something deep inside me, something central to my being. He said that the Yellow City lived in my heart, and when he said it, I believed it, and we were like one in that moment, and we both knew I was meant to play the Yellow Duchess." I'm going to cut over to Rain. So Rain, there's some musicians in the back of this little scrum. didgeridoo player, sitar player, that kind of thing. What do you do?
So is everyone just still continuing to play, or has that ceased?
No, they're not. Yeah, they're not performing right now. They're just walking down the sidewalk. So.
And are they in masks?
They are not. No, they just look like regular people. Yeah. Like
So
just regular bohemian types. Right?
Right. Yeah. So probably just like talking, just kind of chatting with them, kind of learning about what's going on around here.
Yeah. What kind of information are you looking for?
Like I'm probably just asking personal questions, like how long have they been here? Like, what have they, how long have they been doing this? Like, what else do you guys get up to around here? I bet we could do something pretty awesome with that didgeridoo if you want.
Right. They're kind of like, they're your type, they kind of rolled into town fairly recently, just like you. And they went down to the Gem Theater and were seeing if they needed musicians, and they said yes. Audra, the woman playing the Yellow Duchess, said yes. And they were kind of like just told to play. The music they were playing didn't have a particular melody. It was almost dissonant in a way. And yeah, they're pretty new at this too. They don't know much more than you do, but they're really into it. They're really into the vibe of this place. Special Agent Carter, one of the masked individuals, breaks off from the group without saying a single word. Those three don't speak at all, and has basically just broken off from the group without saying a word. And no one none of the other masked people even like turn or acknowledge that this person is broken off, and they just go down a side street. Do you follow that person?
Yeah, I'm going to do that. It's just one question. I had a 6 in my previous role, so should I make insanity check, or?
I have the option of showing you like secret hidden things or not.
Okay, got it.
So
yes, I'm going to follow him,
mm-hmm.
preferably so he doesn't notice me.
Yeah, that's good. If you want to follow without being noticed, that's probably a roll.
Okay.
I think you can make the case easily for 2 dice, at least.
Yeah.
If you wish to risk another, just.
No, I'm going to go with 2.
Okay.
That sounds like 6. So it's 6. I like this dice roller.
Good. Hold that thought. Let's go over to Holly. Holly, what's your deal? You can have overheard any of that conversation that you want.
Yeah, I think probably I've heard some of it, because at this point I'm kind of like the illusion's been shattered. I think I kind of like got into that zone and trying to read into everything they've said and how it relates to me and why I'm here. And
Right.
and now I realize like it's a play, like especially as these other folks, for example, Rain has, not Rain, Raoul has talked to the Duchess, and so it's kind of like, oh, okay, this is actually, it's just a play. Like, what was I thinking?
Right.
And so I think I'll probably kind of try to be talked to some people, but you know what? Maybe because they've already chatted, I think I'm trying to overhear a little bit of that conversation with the musicians, because the other ones don't seem to be talking, right?
The 3 masked ones are not talking.
Like,
Elb, the man wearing the elk mask,
okay.
He is not saying much either. He's just kind of walking next to the Duchess. The Duchess is chatting with Raoul, though, pretty openly. Yeah.
Right. I would kind of side over to the musicians, and after hearing a little bit of the conversation there, try to kind of like squeeze in and make kind of some innocent conversation, like, oh, how long have you been here, that kind of thing, but then ask about if they know my friend Patty, and kind of describe her by appearance.
The musicians, you'll learn, are fairly new to town as well. They don't know your friend Patty. But as you guys are walking along, and because I imagine you and Rain are kind of towards the back of the group, Holly, someone will reach out and grab you by the wrist. It's an old woman wearing like a red flannel and jeans and boots. She looks like she maybe used to, logging is a big thing in this town. Maybe she used to work, at the sawmill or something like that. Gray hair pulled back, a real gnarled, kind of heavy face, right? And she just grabs you and pulls you away from that group of people. And she says, I don't know who you are, but you probably shouldn't stay here. You need to get out of Mercy Falls. Do you understand me?
I think after the initial shock, like I kind of let my face relax for a moment. And is this part of like another play?
No, it's not part of no goddamn play. All right. My name's Arlene Gooch. I've lived in this town my whole life. And I was here when all this business started 3 years ago, and you're not safe. Get out of here.
Are you talking about me specifically? I'm not safe?
You are not safe. They are not safe, pointing to like Rain and the musicians. None of us. I'm just too stubborn to leave.
Why are we in danger?
Just listen. The minute one of them wants to take you into the woods, you say no. You run. Do you understand?
Wait a minute. Are you saying that are people missing? Have they been taking people into the woods?
Go in the woods. And then she like just lets you go, turns and leaves.
I think there's that quick minute of like, wait, do you know Patty? But like,
Yeah. There's no nothing there. Special Agent Carter, you're following this masked individual down a little side street. It's like a little a little alley between like buildings, right? Like where there would be like trash receptacles and things like that, right? And he goes about like halfway down the alley, and he like begins to just kind of like shake, right? Like kind of like shake a little bit, like kind of slumped over. And he's kind of making like a groaning sound, like he's in pain, right? Just like and he takes off the mask, but his back is to you. He takes off the mask, and his hands like come up from beneath the gold robe, and he like is like rubbing his forehead, rubbing his cheeks, rubbing his mouth. And he's just like, what do you do?
Okay, I'm going to wait just a minute longer, and then I'm going to approach him.
Sure.
If
he seems like his face is in pain, like he's got some kind of pain. And again, you just see his back, and he's like he's like shaking, like, and yeah, like kind of rubbing his face.
Sir, are you feeling all right? Do you need help?
He turns, and you see his face. His face is like he's got like a really terrible deformity. Like his eye, it looks like the flesh of his eye has been just like melted. Like, so there's no socket. It's just like a sort of like melted like plane of flesh. Okay. And his nose is like sunken in to where it just looks like two nasal cavities, like in a smooth plane of flesh beneath his one good eye. And he's like rubbing those, right? And he's just like, and he sees you, and he's like, and he like he doesn't want you to look at him, and he kind of puts the mask back on and like runs down the alleyway.
Sir, I need you to stop. I'm going to try to apprehend him.
First of all, roll insanity, because by seeing that hideous image, you need to roll a single d6.
Single, right? Okay.
Yeah, just roll 1d6.
So that's I don't know which. Does he put new dice on the left or on the right? On the left, I think. So
I can't see your rolls anyway.
I think it's on the left, because the last two were the sixes we had from the last
one. Okay, so yeah, it's 3.
Okay, so that means your insanity goes up by 1. So you'll change your insanity number, move that up to 2. This
Yay.
represents it's basically like a little bit of like it's like a countdown clock, and when you hit 6, your mind shatters in Lovecraftian style, right? Until then, though, it's just a build of like this is so weird, this is so strange. Whatever it is, it will be shocking to you, and it will probably stop you in your tracks when you see this face.
Okay.
How are you thinking? How are you feeling? If you wish to give us a Lovecraftian monologue, I'll take that too.
I don't know if I'm capable of that. So I think it's like I was just going to question him like a normal witness. I assume they're on drugs, and I think that now I'm under impression and I'm convinced that it's not like he's just deformed. This is what I will be telling myself a moment later. But I have this strong conviction that this mask did it to him. That he was like a normal person who put this on, and then when he took the mask off, he changed. So I'm like trying to get this thought out of my mind, but I can't. It's yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Let's take a quick break, just like 2 minutes.
Hey, Jason.
Yep.
You were saying that you thought the session might last around 4 hours or so?
It's scheduled till 1, yeah.
To 1?
Do you have to go somewhere or what?
I think I thought it was 3. I don't have to go immediately. I have some people coming over right at the tail end of when it ends. So I should be okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah. No, yeah. Normally we schedule everything for 3, but I always schedule Cthulhu Dark for 4 because I can't finish it in 3. So
Got it. Cool.
I mean, I guess I probably could finish it, but it would feel a little rushed and not quite. I don't think it would feel quite the same. So we're just waiting on Machi and David. Okay, so we know where Agent Carter is. Holly got pulled aside by Arlene Gooch, town curmudgeon, and Raoul, you got some information about Ambrose St. John's scribe, right? You don't know where he's at precisely, though, except that you know that she met him at the Gem Theater. That's kind of where she meets him to receive his words, right? And Rain. The musicians are kind of like new, like you. They haven't been in town much longer than you have. But the Gem Theater does seem to be like a place where they all kind of go to like learn what's about to happen. It seems like the sort of nerve center of all of this. So, and eventually, Arlene, they'll all kind of reach like a certain point in this, like in the middle of the drag there, and she will say, "Well, Mr. Herzog, I have to be on my way. This is where we all shall depart until we are ready to perform the next scene in the play. And I hope we'll find you there." And she bids you adieu.
I bid her a jaunty farewell.
Indeed, indeed. I want to go around the table and find out what you're all doing. Everyone, the group will just kind of disperse. The two masked individuals, like Elb and the Duchess and the musicians will kind of like, they'll talk and say pleasantries to each other. The two masked individuals don't say shit still. They just like wander off. Like they go in one direction. The musicians are they're going to go back to, you gather they're staying at like, they've rented some house. They're going to go there. And we don't know where precisely. Elb goes one way. He might be a local, and Audra Maxwell's is going another way. They're just all splitting up to go about their day. It's probably about 5:30, going on 6 at this point. Maybe I'll say 5:45-ish. What is everyone doing? We'll start with Raoul.
Well, I'm going to make my way towards the Gem Theater, but by way of, stopping and talking to interesting-looking people, including like the hippies and any local characters, and just asking them. And but I think I've got my article hook now, right? The reclusive playwright. So I'm going to let them talk, but I'll always make sure to ask them about the theater and about Ambrose St. John.
Yeah. Another bit of information you guys have back from the hotel is that Patty Ross was staying at a house on Copperhead Trail. So, and you have the address for that as well.
Yeah.
So for those people looking for Patty, that's a thing you can go do right now if you want to investigate that. You can go investigate however you wish, though. The mystery will hold up no matter what you do. Holly, where do you go?
I think Holly's feeling a bit disjoint from everybody. She feels kind of embarrassed that she fell for the play, and then now she realizes it's just a play or whatever. That's how she's feeling. Kind of shook up by Arlene Gooch. So I think she's kind of like she needs her space. And so I think she's just kind of sitting down. We're in kind of like a square of the
little square, yeah. There's like we'll say there's like a little, there's like a fountain and like some benches, like a little park area, and then like businesses on either side.
I think she's sitting down on a bench and just kind of watching the scene. I think she's hoping that, if Patty's around, maybe she'll walk by or some luck of the draw there. And I think she takes out a sketchbook. I mean, she is an artist, and she just starts kind of sketching scenes while she's looking around at people. And I think the scene, even though she's not really paying attention to it, it's almost like kind of like what a real scene of that the trial of Elb would look like, right? So she's kind of like putting those characters into it.
Yeah, I like that. That sounds good. That might trigger a roll just because, one of the things you might do as an artist is like people watch, right? Like that kind of seems like something.
Right.
We'll get to that in a minute. Rain, what about you?
Holly might be wanting her space, but I think Rain is like really into the fact that she got so into the play.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't see that as a shame at all. Like she sees that as like enlightenment.
Yeah.
So she would probably just be like kind of watching over Holly's shoulder as she's drawing and like getting high. And then whenever Holly's done, she would like engage with her and be like, that's really good. Like we should go wander the streets. I hear that people around here just are painting murals. You should paint murals. We should find them.
We'll have that scene in a minute. Special Agent Carter, where are you at?
So I would like to drop by to the. Is there a police station here, or like a sheriff office, or
sheriff's
what's the
office.
deal? So yeah, I'm going to drop by. I'm assuming I didn't yet check in with them, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to head to the house.
Okay.
I want to like get local view of what the fuck is happening here.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So go and talk to sheriff. That's great. Raul, you're heading over to the gym, chatting with folks as you go. There's a lot of locals, right? And you can tell the locals from the people who are, there's definitely like a sort of age breakdown, right? Like the older people don't seem to be too wrapped up in the streams of the Yellow City thing, right? But you see other people who are, they tend to be younger. It's unclear if they're from out of town or not. But younger people, they're probably smoking pot. They are playing music. They're composing poems. That kind of thing. And what kind of people are you interested in, like chit-chatting with?
I will kind of go for the extremes. So the floatiest flower children, and then
Right.
the really buttoned up locals who look like they're just cheesed off with the whole thing.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of two points of view I want to get.
Let's just kind of abstract this out a bit. So just give me the roll, just to kind of find out what kind of information you can learn on your way to the gym. What kind of dice are you rolling?
I'll just use my occupation and human, and that is a 5.
5, good. Let's see. And what kind of information are you looking for?
I want to find out what people have heard about the St. John guy, what they think about him, and how he's connected to the happening as a whole. Like, is this whole thing his brainchild? Is he just part of it? And
Yeah. The main thing you're going to learn at this point about Ambrose St. John is that the main thing you're going to learn about Ambrose St. John is the few people who've seen him, and not many people have, he tends to, he's not like a super public figure, but people do believe he lives in town because they do see him. But the main thing you're going to know about him is he's extremely eccentric, and he goes about with his whole body covered. Like, all you ever see of Ambrose is just like his eyes. They say he has like some sort of skin condition that makes it difficult for him to be in the sun, right? Mm-hmm. And so he wears like big wide brimmed hats, and he's kind of wrapped, you know, like in various flowing fabrics, right? Some people in town will pointedly note that he tends to dress in shades of lavender and pink, right? And and he's always covered in these like thick flowing fabrics, right? Because of his skin condition. He stands out when people do see him, right? And because you got a 5, I'm going to go one step further and say that people believe he lives in a dilapidated house on Copperhead Trail. Meanwhile, before Rain interrupts you, and I want to give you the benefit of your kind of people watching here, Holly. You're looking for Patty, right? I mean, that's basically the deal, right? Or signs of Patty or anything like that. I think that's great. I do find it interesting that you are starting to incorporate like bits of the story into your drawing. I think that's really fun. But give me a roll. I think you can make the case for 2 dice because people watching is something you would do.
Sure. Okay.
Even an aspiring artist, right?
All right, a 1 and a 3.
A 1 and a 3. Would you like to risk an insanity die to get a higher result?
Wow, that's so tempting.
3 will just be kind of like middling information. Maybe, I don't know, like nothing super interesting.
Yeah, let's do this. I think I'm getting into my drawing too much here.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Oh, a 5. That's good. I think.
Good. So that was higher because the insanity die was higher than one of your other dice. You have to now make an insanity roll, and I'll justify that in a minute. But just give me the roll for now. Okay. Just roll a single d6 again.
That one also came out as 5.
Great, and that's going to bump your insanity up by 1. We'll talk about why that is momentarily. Mm-hmm. But a 5 is a good result. It's a great result. And if Rain doesn't mind, I'm gonna let this time period kind of like stretch out a little bit before Rain comes on scene. You're drawing this, you're doing your doodling, you're watching people, and you eventually realize that you've been drawing for about an hour, and it occurs to you that you have lost track of what you're even drawing, right? Like you look down at your drawing and you see figures that you didn't even realize you were drawing, right? You see several things. You see a king with a crown, standing on a dais before a crowd of people, right? And you see next to this king, there's a queen. And the queen looks very much like Patty. You're not a great artist yet, right? But you have a distinct, there's something distinct about the drawing of the woman and the figure that lets you know you just drew Patty. What is it?
I think it's 2 things. The easiest is she's got like a little nose ring thing, which was not super popular yet, right? It was still a little bit like edgy or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know what? Just a little scar that Patty had, right? Mm-hmm. She had like some little scar right above her eye, and so that's there. And like both of those, you know, I mean, it's pretty obvious, even without the facial, you know.
Yeah. That's going to be very surprising to you, right? Which is why your insanity is going up. How are you feeling about having just sort of like stream of consciously drawn this scene?
I think initially it's disturbing, especially because of all this, like it's all kind of coming together, the town crazy and, falling into the play and all this stuff. So there's a part of me which has that initial shock, but still, oh, no, wait a minute. Patty's like top and center. Like obviously I accidentally drew her because she's why I'm here. And it's just kind of like refocusing me like, yes, I need to go find her. I'm starting to get worried.
Rain, you've been looking over Holly's shoulder while she's been drawing this bit. It doesn't mean much to you. It doesn't have as much significance to you. But Holly has about a third of her paper remaining with more of the scene to be drawn. Do you let her continue drawing before you interrupt her, or do you just go ahead and jump in there?
No, I mean, I would just continue watching. Like, I'm not in any hurry.
Do you continue drawing, Holly?
Yeah, that's tough. I think as soon as I see like the Patty stuff, it's starting to kind of refocus me. So I think maybe that the fact that you're just even asking that question is me asking that question. Like, wait, I kind of want to. I haven't finished it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think maybe this is when I notice Rain as well, or maybe she says something because I've kind of stopped there and I'm hesitating.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, if you turn and look at me, like I'll just be kind of in rapture of this unfolding drawing, and I'm smoking, and I think that I'll just like kind of lean in and like just kiss you on the lips and breathe some of that into your lungs, and I'm like, keep going.
And I think there's a little bit of shock, like Holly's not quite ready for that. But well, how long have you been there?
Have
you been watching me the whole time?
And I just put my finger over your lips. I'm just like, don't stop.
I think I actually would get flustered, and I'm gonna put this thing down. Not walk away, but just kind of like it. I'm out of my zone.
Good. As you're walking away, you're going to see Elb, the young man who's wearing the elk mask. He's still wearing the elk mask, and he's laying on the grass in this little park area, casually, comfortably. He's got the mask pushed up on his head, right? But you can't see his face. He's got the mask pushed up on his head, and he's there with several other people, younger people, and they're laughing and chatting, and kind of like just as Rain was getting kind of physical with you, this group of people, like these, a mix of people, men and women, are starting to kind of laugh and chat with Elb, and they're getting a little physical with him too, right? They sort of like, they're kind of like laying next to him. They're kind of like, playing little kissy games or whatever, in the grass, that kind of thing. You'll be aware of that all as you're kind of like getting up to leave.
I think I probably almost see a little bit of a mirror with myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I would probably be nervous going there on my own. So I'm probably going to try to see if Rain, like I'll turn to Rain and just be like, maybe we should go. We can talk to the guy with the mask, and let's go see what they're up to. And my thinking is, maybe Rain will, like, whatever she wants, maybe she'll get it with these people, and maybe I can talk to Elb. Maybe he'll give me some insight into something.
Is he still wearing the mask?
Yeah, pushed up on his head though. He's not like he doesn't have it down.
Okay.
And if you look, he's not like he looks normal, just a young guy.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'll like Holly's really harsh in my vibe right now, but I'll go with her. But I'll go over and I'll take Elb's elk mask off the top of his head, and then I'll put it on and then like sit down and join the circle.
I love it. We'll get to that in a minute. Special Agent Carter. You drive up to the sheriff's office, which is like kind of like just beyond the sort of the main drag of town, the main thoroughfare, like just kind of just on the outside of it. And yeah, you go in. You probably do. You read FBI agent? Like, do you have like are you giving me Dale Cooper right now? Like, what?
I think here I will. I mean, I'm at the point that I will try to tone down my like behavior outside, but in the sheriff station, I'm going to introduce myself right from the door and demand to see the sheriff.
Yeah, the sheriff will come out. His name is Wilbur Fredrickson.
Greetings, Mr. Fredrickson.
He's an older guy, real heavy set. Kind of cowboy hat style, sheriff's hat, right? And he'll come out there and he'll say, a representative from the United States federal government of America of investigation. What can I do for you, Special Agent?
I'm looking for Laura Ross. Laura, right? Or
Patricia.
Sorry. Patricia Ross. She disappeared. And yeah. And we are suspecting kidnapping. So this is why I'm here.
It's like, okay, yeah, we've gotten some calls from Miss Ross's family recently. Well, I say recently, but a couple months back. I'll tell you what I told them. Don't know where she's at. We know she's staying in a little house over in Copperhead Trail, but it's a house that lots of the people who come in from out of town stay in. So,
Did you check it? Did you perform a search there?
It's like, are you suggesting that us dumb local yokels didn't do our job properly, Special Agent Carter? That we didn't think to look for her personal effects and investigate her disappearance? Of course we checked it and we didn't find anything.
Mr. Fredrickson, I don't want to imply anything. I'm just making sure. Can you tell me a bit about this, whatever it is that is happening here? I've seen some strange people on the town.
Bohemians and hippies prancing around, parading around, talking about the Yellow City. Who knows? Look, what they're doing is mostly not illegal. And it's none of my business. What's the Bureau's interest in this?
Well,
it's kind of
as you probably
case, right? I mean, this Patty Ross, she hasn't been heard from for a long time.
Yeah, but as you know, we are always for a lookout for any un-American activity. So this yellow cult is looking suspicious to me, and I'm sure it's also something that concerns you.
It is something I think about, but they're not talking about dreams of the Red City. So,
well, from yellow to the red, it's only small change. They start with the yellow, and think about it. What's one of the two largest communist countries in the world?
I see where you're
Coincidence?
going with this.
I don't think so.
I see where you're going with this. Listen, Special Agent, I'm looking at you and I'm seeing a pretty young guy. I'm going to guess a pretty young guy who is trying to strike out and make his name in the Bureau. Have I pegged you right?
I'm just... I'm not answering his question.
Right. I don't think you're going to make your name in Mercy Falls, Special Agent.
Yeah.
There's nothing to say.
Right. Okay, and those
a bunch of unwashed hippies.
People in masks, those like actors or performers or whatever. They have these strange deformities. Are they from here?
Give me a roll at this point. Give me a justification for why you might be able to tweeze more information out of them. Like, do you throw the weight of the U.S. government behind your quest, or what? What do you do?
No, I think I'm going like to go with the lost rookie vibe he got. So it's more like okay, you figured me out. Just let's talk. Let's talk honestly.
Okay.
I know I'm not going to find anything here, but I mean that's just fucking weird. Can you like give me shed a bit of light on that or whatever?
Yeah. I love it. Give me a roll.
Okay, so that's.
I'll roll against.
It's 2d6, okay? For this.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, you're kind of in your line of work right now. So.
Oh, that's 4.
You're rolling against, David?
I also got a 4.
Okay. You have to beat him for it to do.
Yeah.
Okay. He'll say, "All right. Let me go look at the case file on Patty Ross. I haven't looked at it in a while." And he goes and he's kind of like, he's going through it. He's like, "Oh, we didn't find much when we scoured that disgusting flop house she was staying in, but she had some." He takes out basically like a letter that was in an envelope with a stamp that never got sealed, like she meant to send it off. This is a letter she was writing back home. There's not much in it, mostly complaining about her neighbor. Then kind of hands you the letter. It's like, that's the only thing, really. There were a lot of other people there. Anything that might have been hers, some of those other people who were staying there might have, commandeered it. So.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Sheriff. I'm going to look for the letter, read it.
It's a letter to her mom, written at a time when it would have been pretty early in her arrival at last year in Mercy Falls, and mostly she's complaining about the odor coming from the house next door. That's essentially what she's complaining about. There's a really disgusting odor coming from the house next door on a house on Copperhead Trail.
Okay. Do you know who was occupying that house next to hers at the time?
I'm gonna cut from there. I'll tell you your answer in a minute. So you're going to the gem. That's great, Raul.
Mm-hmm.
Probably about 6 p.m. or so. Well, you've been chit-chatting with people for a while. Maybe let's say it's around 7.
It could be getting dark by now, right?
Yeah, it's getting dark. What's your approach? What do you do?
Well, what's the vibe at the gem? Is it like a kind of hangout, and is it any sort of gathered revelers, or is it a party atmosphere, or
kind of? If you go into the gem, there's nobody in the box office, and if you go in there, it's like a community theater type thing. There's like a stage and everything, and like rows and seats and everything, and a balcony, boxes, that whole thing. And there will be people like kind of clustered in little parts of the theater, like, chit-chatting, talking, that kind of thing. And there are people working on like on the stage, there's like, set dressing, that people are painting and working on. You hear hammering, that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, I think I'm mainly just gonna immerse myself in the culture. I am gonna hang out with people, like, for as long as it takes. This could stretch well into the night, like if you were montaging it, Eddie.
Right, yeah.
Yes, if going to people saying hi, offering them cigarettes, or rolling a spliff for them, giving them that, and then like by the end of the evening, it's like I've got an almost empty bottle of wild turkey in one hand while snorting a line of coke off the clavicle of a gleeful flower child.
Good.
So,
yeah, I love it.
How much I'll actually retain from this experience, I don't know, but that's my method.
Yeah, your method is a solid one. Give me a roll.
Okay. That's a 6.
Good.
I may have got in over my head this time.
Possibly. And again, what kind of information are you looking for?
I think, well, more stuff about the St. John guy, but I'm also interested in just the kind of the story of the happening, and then like what's the plot of what's the name of the play actually?
The Dreams of the Yellow City.
That's
the name of the festival and the play.
And the play. Okay. Yeah. So I want to know more. Yeah, I'd like to know about what scenes people have seen or roles are in it, and kind of the genesis of this whole deal.
Yeah. So you're going to learn a couple of things. A big thing you're going to learn is that all of this goes on for a number of days, culminating in the appearance of a particularly bright star in the sky. They don't know when the star will appear, and that's also not how stars work. But there's at some point a particularly bright yellow star is going to appear in the sky, and that's when they know that it's time to put on the final performance, which is what they all seem to be feverishly working on here in the gem. Okay, that's important. And you're eventually, as the hours are whiling away, you're getting increasingly like a little heady, right? Like it's the pot smoke, it's the music, the impromptu jam sessions that take place here and there in the theater. It is it's the strange lighting, like the lighting people are constantly playing with the stage lights and casting everything in this sort of like sickly yellow glow, right? It's all getting to be a little heady and a little strange. And eventually you will see a number of those robed, masked individuals with the the gold caftans and the masks. You'll see them eventually like kind of file in, right? And they'll file in and they'll kind of circle up together and they'll seem like they're conferring, right, with each other. And their behavior is very strange, right? Like, why are they going about in their masks and robes still, right? There's no performance going on right at this minute, you know? But eventually they will all just sit down in the front row of the theater. You know, they'll take up the entire front row. They sit down one by one. And there's nothing going on the stage, right? The stage depicts like a twisty, a twisty city with strange geometry, right? You know, twisty columns and towers and stairways and things like that. And at this point, the conversation and music of the people you've been hanging out with just falls away to the sides, right? And you're just aware of this empty stage and these people in the front row. And eventually, they just start laughing. They just all burst out laughing. And they stand up and furiously begin clapping at nothing on the stage. Roll insanity.
That's a 6.
All right, that's going up. How's that make you feel?
If anyone were to come in and see me right now, I'm kind of a mess. I already was before these guys showed up, right? So, all my shirt buttons are undone. I'm drenched in sweat and stuff. And now I feel cold, right? I look down and my chest has a weird yellow gleam on it as a reflection, and I still can't see anything apart from the stage and people. And I feel lost, and I stand up and my footsteps seem to echo, and I'm just walking in what to me looks like a black space and trying to find my way out away from the stage, like feeling around for to try and hold the hand of the the girl I was sitting next to, whose name is Daffodil.
Hmm.
I'd like bring her with me, but if I don't just can't grasp anything, then I'll just go by myself. And I'm sort of muttering to myself, "Need a breath of fresh air. I need a breath of fresh air."
Indeed, indeed. So back to Rain and Holly. You are with this group of people, with Elb, who's actually a young man named Mark, and these other young people who are with him. Holly, are you a little more like buttoned up than them, than Rain and these other people, like in terms of your presentation?
I think a little bit. Like Holly has a little bit of the kind of like that look of the era. Like I'm going to start to dress like the hippie styles that have kind of started to permeate around. So she's got a little bit of somewhat loose, but she's not a hippie, right? So
Yeah.
I think she would probably look a little more stiff than
Yeah.
And
Rain, you had like just walked up and taken the mask right off Mark's head, right?
Yeah.
Can you put it on?
Uh-huh.
What do you do? He sees it. He kind of turns and says, "So what crime have you committed, Elb, secret lover of the Yellow Duchess?"
And I think I just kind of sit down in the circle, and then I think I kind of like lay my head in the middle of the circle and stretch out, and I'm like, I don't know. Are you all putting me on trial?
And I think he kind of like beckons Holly to sit down on the grass with you all, right? Or with all of them, and he kind of like leans, he's kind of like crawls over like on his stomach a little bit toward you in the grass and says, "I'm happy to put you on trial, but first I need to know what you're accused of, Elb, secret lover of the Yellow Duchess. Are you accused of crimes of the heart?"
Yes, they won't tolerate us. They won't tolerate us girls kissing one another.
Indeed, indeed. A high crime before the eyes of the Yellow King. And what do you suppose is just punishment for this crime, Elb?
And I'm like looking around at like everyone else in the circle. And then I think I come back to focus on Mark. And I just kind of like shimmy back a little bit more, and kind of like playfully like inviting him.
Yeah. Are you trying to seduce him?
I think so, yeah.
To what end?
Really to no end. Just to experience this city and this society, and he seems like he's in on all this. And if I can figure out more about this play and just get more involved with the play, I think that's my mission. That's what I'm living for right now.
Roll to see if you can seduce him.
Okay.
What are you risking? Are you risking insanity or just?
Yeah, I'll risk sanity. Occupation, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. This sounds like your vibe. Seems like your scene.
I need to roll one of them differently.
Yeah, do the insanity die as with pips, so we know it's different.
Yeah. Let's do that differently. Okay, well, the sanity die is only a 1, and the other ones are a 5. It looks like is my high.
Oh, good. Yeah, he's really into it. He says, he kind of look around. You guys are in a public space, right? And he kind of says, "Hey, with the two of you, do you guys want to come back to our place and maybe we can turn this into a party?"
Yeah.
Holly, what say you?
I think Holly's waiting to have Rain answer for her. I think she's gonna be a follower. She's gonna come along. She doesn't have any plans to,
Rain is a very pretty girl, and we know that you have affections for girls because
Yeah.
of Patty. How does it make you feel to see Rain being very like physical and flirty with this guy, Mark?
I think so. There was two things. Like one, when Rain was saying that she's on trial because girls kissing girls thing, then I think at that point it just kind of like again this just like the play and real life is starting to blur again, and so all of a sudden she's kind of like getting back into the zone of the trial and the picture, and I think she feels that temptation to continue drawing what she was drawing, but I mean, she's in the middle of this scene, so but yeah, I think all of a sudden, like, she's seeing Rain, and then she's kind of imagining her as the guy or whatever. It's like everything's kind of getting a bit blurred again. So she's just following along.
Yeah, I'll grab Mark's hand and I'll grab Holly's hand, and I'm like, yeah, let's go back to your place. This one, and I'm kind of like, I kind of shake Holly's hand. I'm like, this one's an artist. She needs to make a mural. Can she make a mural at your place?
Mark says, yeah, absolutely. There are tons of paintings at our place, on the walls, on canvases, everywhere. We have lots of painters who come through.
Perfect.
And you guys can head back there. If you wish to run into Raul, if you would like to run into this group while they're going back to their house on Copperhead Trail, that's an option, I think. Okay. As you're stumbling out of the gem, it's up to you if you want.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Otherwise, I'm just going to go back to the Egyptian. So
okay, let's cut over to Special Agent Carter then for a sec. So you had asked one more question, Agent Carter. What was it? Right before you left, you had just learned something important. I feel like you got that letter. That's right. Special Agent Carter, are you there?
Sorry. Okay, so yeah, I'm heading to that house.
You had asked something though, right at the end of the scene. I didn't answer you. What was it?
Yeah, I was asking about the. I was asking whether they know who occupied the house next to the Tricia's house.
Right.
Do they have a record for that?
Yeah. They will. They do know who the house used to belong to. The house used to belong to a woman named, her surname was Jackson, and the house is still in her name, but she's been missing. She's been gone from the town for like 30 years, 25 years, who knows, long time. And that's all they know. They don't have any, the house has just kind of been sitting there like.
Okay. They were searching it, or?
They had no reason to. I mean.
Okay.
The house has been functionally abandoned for decades at this point.
Okay, so yeah, so I probably would be able to search it without it being any kind of issue. I don't think I need a warrant for that.
Yeah. Do you want to head to that house?
Yeah.
The house.
I'm going to.
Okay.
Both of them.
That actually will put you all together. Because the flop house is right next to the house, the abandoned house. The flop house is also the house that Patty was staying in, where she was smelling the smell. So you're all going to be kind of converging here in a minute. I'm going to take a quick bio break. Let's have a quick bio break and come back. So, Special Agent Carter, I'm going to put you on scene first. The house on Copperhead Trail belongs to you'll learn it belongs to a woman named Penny Jackson. It's titled in her name, at least. And she's been gone for like 25, 26 years. There's some people who vaguely remember her, but basically all you really know is her name. And the house has laid presumably abandoned. And as you approach, you can smell it right away. There's like a really foul odor coming off the house, like almost as soon as you like break the threshold of the picket fence. Okay. And this house, this Copperhead Trail is on like it's on a street that kind of goes up a hill a bit, covered with lots of heavy tree coverage. And with maybe just like it's basically just a little street of like 5 or 6 houses, right? And with nothing else around. Really, really foul and disgusting smell. Like rot. What do you do?
Okay, I'm going to cover my mouth and nose with something,
Sure.
handkerchief or something like that, and I'm going to go in.
As you approach, as you get up to the porch, you hear voices inside. There are 2 people. They're having some kind of argument or discussion. You can't quite, just as you step up, you can't quite make out what they're saying. You might be able to listen in closer to find out what they're saying.
I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to try to approach it in a way so I do not alarm them and hear what they are saying.
Yeah, give me a roll on that.
I'll roll against.
Okay.
You're gonna roll against. Okay.
It would be 3 and 4.
5.
Go.
You are there listening. You're going to make out 2 voices. The first voice you're going to make out is that of Audra Maxwell, the Yellow Duchess. You recognize her from earlier. She's in there. You also recognize the voice of a man that you don't know who that is. Okay. You're listening, trying to like figure this out. When you hear kind of like behind you, like down the steps from the porch, you hear like the whimpering of a dog, like just a little like a whimpering, like. What do you do?
I'm looking down. What's that?
The dog is there. It looks a little like sickly, patchy fur, unhealthy, and it kind of like looks up at you, not scared, but it makes like really direct eye contact with you. There's a glimmer in its black eyes, right? And it's nighttime at this point, mind you. And we're getting late, right? And eventually he just kind of like his whimpering becomes a little more like a little more caught in his throat, a little more guttural, like the noise can't get out, and then a thick, slimy, bright yellow slug just and splats down on the sidewalk. Roll insanity.
Okay, I'm going to step around the dog and this thing, and I'm going to pound on the door.
Give me a die roll first for sanity.
Okay. Oh, great. It's 1d6.
Yep.
And that's okay. It was 3 and 4 last time, so this one will be 6.
Okay. So your insanity is going to go up by 1, so just bump that up by 1. How does it make you feel when you see this dog retch up a big, bright yellow slug?
Okay. I'm starting to be really afraid about what is happening here, because that guy in a mask, it was something that was like going after me. I was thinking about it, but I didn't really believe, or maybe I had some, I had a way to explain that to myself. But this is just straight out weird, and this is too much. There is too much weirdness in this city, so I'm starting to think that something wrong is going on here, and this is connected with the disappearance of Patricia. So,
Do you pound on the door?
yeah, and I'm going to have my gun ready.
The door opens, and you are hit with a terrible, repulsive odor. Okay, like, I mean, it's just like it makes your stomach churn. And the person who opens the door is Audra Maxwell, the Yellow Duchess. She's dressed in a sort of slim, sort of like cream pencil skirt and black top, and pearls at her neck. And she's wearing great big black sunglasses, big, huge sunglasses, when she answers the door. And she says, "Ah, it's our grand arbiter, who still has not rendered his judgment." I'm gonna cut away from that. So,
okay, enough of this.
I'm cutting away. I'm cutting.
Okay, sorry.
So the group is. You joined the group up, right, Raul? Like this group going up Copperhead Trail. They're just walking. It's within walking distance. But it's still a fair amount of walk. It's still probably about a good like half mile, right? From where you guys were at. What are you doing with the group? They're all high. They're all being very, very physically affectionate. You might notice Holly, like with her sketch pad, right? That kind of thing. As you guys are walking, like Holly and Rain in particular, what are you guys doing? Like anything in particular as you guys are making the journey to the house?
I think for Holly, just the journey itself is already starting to give her kind of inspirational vibes. So she's got her sketch pad in front of her, and she's kind of amongst them, kind of like half trying to ignore when people are trying to associate her with whatever the revelry is, but she's already starting to kind of like sketch some stuff out. Not like an intense drawing, but like sketching out this kind of like procession.
Yeah, I love it. We'll get to that in a minute. Rain, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think I'm just moving in and among everyone and being physically affectionate with everyone. I think I'm still like playing with the mask and like pretending that I'm on trial or whatever, and just like racking up more crimes with everyone.
Yeah, indeed. More crimes. Yeah, that's good. Well, so then, Raul, since you're the outsider here, in a sense, what are you doing?
Well, that's the thing. So I'm not trying to join in with all this stuff, because for one thing, it's taking me this walk to get my act back together, right? And button that shirt back up. Kind of
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Rain's still trying to get you involved in all of it.
I mean, the thing, like, I'm increasingly hail fellow well met as we walk along, right? And if you sort of kind of grab me by the hand and like bring me over to laugh at some kind of joke or whatever while we're walking, I'm up for that. But at the same time,
He looks spooked, right, Rain? I mean,
yeah, you don't seem all right. Like, I think after a while of like dalliancing with everyone else, like I will actually like drop back with you. And I'm smoking, and you look like you could use a hit. Like,
could use a hit. I will take that hit with relish. And
you look like
thank you.
You look like you've seen a ghost.
Well, I sure saw something over at the gym. You know, they're putting on a big old production down there.
That's good. That's good.
Something. You heard about this? The final night, they wait for this yellow star to appear in the sky, and then that's when they have the big final number.
Well, I hope that's not too long from now, but I don't know. I don't want all this to end.
if Mark overhears you talking about the big finale, the yellow star, he'll chime in. He seems to be a little bit more like clued in on things, than everybody else. He'll say, yep, that's when we choose a bride for the Yellow King.
And then what happens?
Well, I've only heard, but apparently there's part of the final scene of the play is they marry off the bride to the Yellow King, and there's the town, or at least all the revelers, they all kind of like gather up in a procession and march out into the woods to complete the ceremony. The play takes place all over the entire community. That's what's so cool about it.
Right. I'll sort of wait till he's drifted off a bit.
Yeah, I'm not particularly like disturbed by it. I think I put the mask back on him at this point, and I'm like, "What about you? Can you be the Yellow King's bride?"
To who?
To Mark.
Oh. He like kind of like smiles and says, "I don't know. Miss Maxwell says it has to be a woman, but it's a bold new age, so maybe, yeah, I could be the Yellow King's bride, right?" And everyone's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I mutter something about the age of Aquarius and like turn to rain. So yeah, so it's rain, right? When this all does end, where are you gonna go? Where's your home?
I don't really hammer down any tent pegs longer than the party lasts,
Yeah. Me too.
I think Holly's going to interrupt. So I think Holly was kind of sketching, but walking right behind them, kind of toward the back of the procession, and was kind of listening in, at the top of her head. But I think now that the elb guy with the mask is probably wandered a little bit further up, right? We're a little more remote. So I'm gonna whisper the warning that and tell them about what was her name? Arlene.
Arlene Gooch.
So I'm gonna tell them about how she came out, and and she said, "Don't follow them into the woods." And I mean, I know she looked crazy, but I swear
she's probably just worried that like we're gonna do drugs out in the woods if we go out there. Like,
I don't know.
Just.
You've been sketching this whole time, right, Holly?
Yeah.
Rain, you'll catch a glimpse of her sketchbook. You see that she has drawn a group of people, maybe kind of vaguely looks like all of you. And this group of people they have torn Elb from limb with their bare hands, ripped the arms and the head straight off the torso. Roll insanity.
All right. It goes up.
Okay. How do you react?
I just like grab the sketchbook out of her hands. I'm like, "What the fuck's the matter with you?"
What do you like? I think I'm seeing the picture for the first time.
Roll insanity.
Great.
I was going, "Whoa, ladies!"
And then I show it to you, okay. And then I show it to you.
Thanks.
Look what
I don't think it's gonna hit. I don't think it'll. I think Raoul, you don't have any reason to think that there's something weird going on. I think only Holly and Rain are.
I got a 2 anyway, so it wouldn't have gone up. I'll just sort of look at it and say something like, "What does it depict? Is it the group have torn apart Elb?"
Yeah.
What'd you end up getting?
Yeah, I got a 4. My insanity goes up.
All right.
Yeah, Holly, I think you're kind of mixing your Greek legends here. The deer guy is Actaeon. He gets, dogs. And then the one who gets torn apart by the Mineheads, that's the guy with the banjo. Help me out here. Orpheus.
Yes. Well, Holly, how do you feel about seeing what you've drawn? It's sort of drawn unconsciously, right?
Right. And I think it's, again, like I'm always self-analyzing and everything has to do with whatever I'm going through. So I'm like, oh my God, do I want to get rid of him because he's in between me and Rain, or, like I don't even know, like I'm just trying to figure out what my psychology is.
Or is Rain actually Elb now, and
Right.
she's being torn apart?
Right. And so it's, yeah, I probably look up at Rain with a half guilty expression, because I don't know if I've put her in the picture ripped up, but maybe that guilty expression comes, I don't know, like as why I've drawn it or whatever. I don't even think she.
Yeah. I just push it back, and I just push your sketchbook back into your chest. And I'm just like, well, you're lucky you're cute. Just don't make this one the mural. Do that first one. That first one was better.
Special Agent Carter, I'm going to cut back to you. So Audra Maxwell, the Yellow Duchess, has opened the door. She's got her big black sunglasses on, and her, she looks much more like fancy and proper, and, like a woman of means even, as she opens the door. A complete clash with the terrible smell that comes out, right? And she says, our grand arbiter, who has yet to issue a judgment, I will get you to participate in our play before the end of this, Mr. I didn't catch your name.
Carlton. William Carlton.
Indeed. Oh, you need to put your mic down.
Sorry. A special agent for the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And I would like to see your ID, Miss.
My ID? Well, I didn't know I was under investigation.
Well, some of your compatriots seem to know something about the disappearance of Patricia Ross, so I think I should question you.
Well, if you want to come inside, I'm happy to tell you what I know, which is not much. I do remember Patricia Ross. She was here for last year's performance of The Dreams of the Yellow City, but we didn't make much acquaintance. But please, come in.
I'm going in. And who are you talking with a moment ago?
She's like, that would be Ambrose, our muse, our scribe, the person who's responsible for this fantastic artistic expression and movement and happening.
Is he squatting in this property?
If you step inside, you'll see that things have been sort of made up in a sort of way. There are the main room is like really, really dilapidated. So the room in the house is very dilapidated, like moldered rugs, ratty furniture, yellow drapes, right? The smell is repulsive. But from each of you, I'd like to paint the scene here. From each of you, I'd like to know a soft, feminine, or fabulous touch that has been added to the room by Ambrose to make it homey and livable. Whoever wants to go first.
So I think
amid the decay and squalor, right?
Maybe there is like fresh flowers.
Perfect.
In a vase.
Yeah. David, what do you think?
I think that there's lots of bead hangings, like between doorways and whatnot, but not just in doorways, but just like in random places throughout.
Just like beads hanging up. Good. Tom, what do you think?
There is a collection of perfectly pristine china dolls on the mantelpiece.
Okay. I love it. Tomer, what do you think?
How do you follow that? I'm going to say, yeah, so there's a table and, again, there's like dust. Oh, yeah. So, okay, there's a table and a bunch of chairs around it, and there's dust on all the chairs, like as if no one sat on them for however long, right? Decades. But the table itself is, and there's like a runner with a strange pattern on it.
Nice, good. And Agent Carter, our host Ambrose will come out from a back room, and he's sort of like, he practically floats into the room, right? He's yelling, he's wearing this big like lavender caftan that sort of like spills out onto the floor like from his body, drapes over his arms too. You can't see his hands or arms. He has like kind of a silk scarf like wrapped around his mouth and his forehead, so all you can see is his eyes, and a big wide brimmed hat. And he kind of like, very Dr. Moreau, right? He kind of like floats into the room, and he says, "I didn't know we were having visitors. Hello, I am Ambrose St. John." And he like kind of moves over towards you and extends a hand out, but it's just sort of like pressing the cloth forward, right? You can't make out the hand or the arm for you to shake it.
I'm going to shake it.
Have I overheard correctly? You're looking for someone?
Yes, I'm investigating the disappearance of Miss Ross and Patricia Ross. And I have reason to believe that the two of you may know something about her.
At this point, this is when the procession is going in front of the house. You're going to hear them laughing and cavorting and whispering and singing and all that stuff as they're kind of moving out, moving across. And he says, "You'll probably want to check with that group. I believe Miss Ross was staying in the house next door, which is where they're currently residing."
Yes, but I have a reason to believe that you were occupying this house at the time of her disappearance. So that makes you a potential suspect.
Well, you're free to look around. I won't ask for a warrant or anything. But Audra and I are making our way to the gem, if you don't mind.
Are you legal owner of this house? Do you have any contract with the legal owner? Or are you just squatting here, Mr. Ambrose?
I must confess, Special Agent, I came to Mercy Falls because the Muse spoke to me in a dream, and they told me that this is where I should come. This place, this sad, dreary place. In this dreariness, in this emptiness, in this place of hopelessness and abandon, this is where I would be able to hear them most clearly. This is where the words come to me. They flow like wine.
Right. So, if you don't tell me something more substantial, you would be able to test how well you're hearing your muse in the cell in the sheriff's station.
Audra will like intercede and say, "Special Agent, Ambrose is very eccentric, but he means no harm. I'm sure. I'm a pillar of this community. I've lived here for years, and I'm certain we can work this all out. There's nothing to be. He's not harming anyone here." Worth noting, she doesn't seem bothered by the smell at all, even though it's pervasive, right?
Does the smell have any source? Like, can I try to establish what's stinking here?
Yeah, give me a roll, maybe. Give me that roll, and then we'll come back to it and go to the other group.
Okay. So let's see, and that. Sorry, one second.
I think that's a 2-die roll.
Clear this out, right? Okay, 2 and 4.
Good. Yes, the smell is coming from Ambrose. It gets stronger as you or near him. We'll come back to that in a minute. So, group, you get to this house. There's already some people there. It's basically kind of a flop house, an artistic commune of sorts. There are people dancing in the living room. There are people with babies. There's a sort of like communal wet nursing situation going on with babies. There is music. There's painting. There are Indian saris thrown about on the furniture. That kind of thing. What do you all do?
Just before I go into the house, just on the step, I treat myself to a quick refresher, get my head back in the game, just off the wrist. And
Perfect, yeah.
I'm just going to look for some booze inside and sit down next to someone on the sofa.
Yeah, you can do that. Holly, as you go in, you're going to see something right away that lets you know that Patty used to be here. What do you see?
It's definitely a painting.
Okay.
It's one I haven't seen, but I know her style.
Mm.
I'm open to what that painting is if you have thoughts. But
I think it's probably paintings of the Yellow City, like sort of somewhat. She has like a certain like abstract style, right?
Right.
It's but like kind of twisty, spired buildings and things.
Yeah, and in fact, I think when we were in school, that was something that I was attracted to her in her art, was just kind of that weird abstractness. You could tell it's hers, but it's definitely like the next level of, complexity and whatever.
I think she signed it too, so you know for sure.
Sure.
If you investigate closer.
Oh yeah. No, I probably would. I probably would immediately see it and be like, wait a minute, and then that kind of confirms it.
Yeah. What are you doing, Rain?
I think like what I came here for, just like trying to get Holly like to paint a mural here, and like looking at all the other murals that are here. Yeah, that's mostly just like taking in all the art.
If you look, there is one wall that goes from the living room and kind of stretches down a hall that goes back to some bedrooms, which appears to be like it shows like sort of crudely painted figures in this yellow city, which seems to be the inspiration for all of this, right? And you see a figure, and at certain intervals in this like mural that's been painted on the wall, there's like a different little scene of this figure like moving through, right? Do you follow it all the way to the end?
Yeah, I imagine I would.
If you follow it all the way to the end, you're going to see a scene of this figure being married off to another figure in a yellow cloak and a crown, right? It ends at a wedding, right? Kind of echoing the conversation you guys had on the way up.
Yeah. But then after like I've kind of taken in the art, I would probably just like start like another circle of people in here and like talk about what does the Yellow City mean to you.
Yeah. You want to give me a roll, see if you can find if you learn something interesting in your...
Sure. And I feel like we need mushrooms when we're discussing what does the Yellow City mean to you.
Yeah, so. Yeah. I'm into it.
We'll risk all the dice. Let's see what we get. Did someone roll against me?
You know what? I think it's got a refresh thing, because like when I rolled, suddenly some other dice appeared.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So I don't know which dice were mine.
We just hit clear and then started over.
Yeah. Let's try that again. There we go. 5 on the sanity die. That's the high die.
Give me that roll.
Okay.
See if your insanity goes up. That'll kind of dictate how the scene goes a little bit.
Yeah, it goes up.
Okay. We'll talk about what happens in a moment. Raoul, what's your plan once you get in the house?
You know, I just want to hang out with some hippies, get a bit high. Like that stuff at the theater was weird. And I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
And also, I'm only here to investigate this happening. And right now, I think I'm in it. So, kind of. So, if my editor asks exactly what I was doing every evening, well, you know, I'll figure that out later. But I'm just gonna hang and see what happens.
Yeah, it's working. It's been working fairly well for you so far.
Yeah, exactly.
Somewhat 50-50, I guess. You're kind of one for one, I suppose, or 1 for 2, or whatever on that. 1 for 1. You can give me a roll though. See, I might give you a lead to kind of follow up on a little bit, depending on.
Sure. Okay. 6.
Great. Hold that thought.
Yeah.
Holly, once you realize that one of Patty's paintings is hanging up on the wall, what do you do?
I think, you know, the kind of Rain mentioning these murals over and over again, and me being here with that painting, like I feel like that's how I'm going to get close to Patty is trying to paint something out, and kind of see where it goes from there. So I guess I'm going to see if what Mark or anybody can lead me to some supplies. And yeah, I'm not sure where to paint yet.
Interesting. Mark will notice your interest in that painting, and he'll say, there are a bunch more like that in the house.
Oh, can I see them?
Yeah. Come back here. I think whoever did them, they left their supplies too. So if you want to do some painting, do some stuff, that's totally great.
Did you not know her?
Yeah, I kind of knew her a little bit. People were in and out of here. It's kind of hard to some people you make close connections with. He kind of says it as he kind of sidles up to you a little bit.
Right.
And others more like casual acquaintances.
I think that goes over my head, but I'm like, did you have a close connection with her? Almost like jealous.
Yeah. He's like,
but it sounds like not.
No. But here, let me show you. Let me show you. And he kind of takes you.
Oh yeah, I'll follow.
He's like, the pigs came a while back asking about some of this stuff, but we weren't gonna give up anything. And he goes to the closet and he pulls out like a whole series of paintings depicting like scenes from this city, right? And one of the figures in the paintings, and there's a bunch of them, probably like 2 or 3 dozen, it's you. It's an abstract painting of a figure, but it's you. How do you know it's you?
I think it's the shade of the hair, because my hair starts with a very light brown and it frizzes out and it's very blonde and almost white at the ends. And that figure has that kind of like hair halo, which,
okay. I like it. So she was clearly thinking about you while she was painting these, right? She had you in
Obviously.
mind. So that's something. Yeah, he's like, I'm going to go back to the group. You get whatever you need from here. And he kind of heads out. What do you do?
I'll probably stare at that painting for a while, honestly.
Okay.
But wherever I go, I'm gonna probably take it. How large is it? I mean, like a large size.
These are each probably like maybe 2 or 3 foot canvases. Not very big.
Right. I'm probably gonna take that one along with me, absentmindedly, and just kind of like always have it kind of on the edge. But I'm gonna start gathering some supplies, like whatever paint stuff. Are there any empty canvases that haven't been used?
Sure.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna paint on a wall. I'm gonna look for a wall.
Okay, awesome. I love it. We'll get to that in a minute. What'd you get on your die roll? What was the last die roll you had, Rain?
It went up. I think it was 5.
Oh, you got an insanity thing, right? Yeah, yeah. And you were trying to learn more about like this whole scene, right? The whole dream.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I started a conversation where we were eating mushrooms and talking about what does the Yellow City mean to you.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. So they're all chit-chatting, and many of them are just, you can tell they're kind of like, they don't really like know they don't know like a lot of the details, right? A lot of them are new into town. They've heard different things. Many of them, because Marcus told them, know about the Yellow Star situation, right? But one of them will kind of like a woman, a girl. She'll say, "I've seen you before. I've seen you. Well, not seen you, but like I've seen you. You know."
And I'm just kind of like nodding along.
She's like, look, and then she goes and she gets like a stack of like typewritten papers, right? She says, this is a scene. This is a scene that I got at the gym. It's something we're supposed to be practicing for a performance later. But look, and she like turns to a particular part of it, and like there's a part that's labeled the dreamer, and the description of the dreamer is a perfect match for what you look like and what you're wearing. What is it? I mean, like everything, like down to like very specific fine detail, the color of your hair, the color of the clothes you're wearing. If you have some little tiny, what's a little tiny like detail that would be impossible for like this to be a coincidence?
It's like the assortment of bracelets that I'm wearing, like the fact that anyone would note that down, and the fact that it's exactly the same as what I'm wearing is absurd.
Yeah. You said your insanity went up, right? Yeah. This is why. How does it make you feel?
I mean, it's really unnerving. Like you didn't just you're just pulling my leg, right? Like you just went in the other room and typed this, right?
No. Did you hear any typing? And
I wasn't paying attention, but
and there's a couple people laughing. Like, there's no typewriter here, you know.
Like, but this is weird. Like, what? Isn't this anyone else freak them out?
And a couple of them are like, they're looking at it and like, that's fucking trippy, dude. They're like, wow. They're like, they can't believe that, like, how the perfect description, right, of you in the notes, right, of this character, the dreamer. And one of them says, I think that means you're meant to be here. This is the Yellow City reaching out to you. Don't you see? It's reaching out to you. It's calling to you. Sister. And everyone's gotten really quiet at this point. You've been drawn here by the tendrils of time, of space, of reality. They've brought you here. Don't you see? And everyone's like, yeah. Like, this is a really cool thing, right? They're just kind of going in on that. Raul, what was the last die result you had?
It was a 6.
6, yeah. And Raul, are you listening to any of this conversation, or are you somewhere else?
I think I'm probably somewhere else, actually. Like, I just sort of acquired my own conversation group. Like, I'm sitting there holding forth a bit about like the 1965 Chicago Cubs. Is that the right? And, but I've got a snifter of brandy, but someone's put a rabbit mask on me at some point.
Sure, why not?
Off, Yeah.
That's good. And as you're sitting here having this conversation, you're chatting, you're doing your thing. You can ask me a couple of questions out of character, and I'll answer them, whatever you want to know.
Okay.
Since you got a high result, I'll worry about the 6 in a minute.
What's going to happen in the woods after the Yellow Star appears?
Yeah. Well, you'll learn that a marriage. It starts at the theater, and then a procession is taken, and no one really seems to know like what happens like at the final of it all, like once they all march out to the woods. But you're going to pick up on one little interesting detail. There's a group of people who live out in the woods. They have a camp out in the woods, who are like who like don't want to live in the town anymore. They're opposed to all of this. So they're talking about like, yeah, but once we gather, we have to deal with all those crazy people out in the woods. You know, we'll be trying to stop
they're
us.
Like former inhabitants who've been kind of driven out by the dreams of the Yellow City. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, you can ask me another thing.
That's what I want to know. What is the deal with that smell?
And they will say that, yeah, sometimes it's at the gem too. Usually right after scripts have been dropped off. That's when the smell happens.
What does it smell like? I mean, is it like
it's just kind of a rotten smell. It's kind of rotten. Yeah.
Okay.
And as you're having this conversation, just out the little back window in the kitchen, you're going to see 3 of those robed, masked figures standing out there. There's a little bit of porch light. You'll see them just standing out there in a row, ominously staring into the window, almost staring directly at you behind their gold masks. Make an insanity roll.
Yeah, let's go up.
How do you react?
Yes. I stare kind of back at them for a long time. So my rabbit mask staring at the gold masks. I'm like trying to see are they looking at me, or are they looking slightly to the side of me, or what? I mean, can they see anything at all? And after a while, I'll ask someone. Yeah, but do you see that?
And the guy that you're with, kind of long beard, bandana, kind of, jean vest, denim vest. He'll be like, no, man, I just see the backyard. What are you talking about?
Shit.
So, Special Agent Carter. Yeah, the smell's definitely coming off of Ambrose.
Okay.
John.
Okay, I think that, first of all, Mr. St. John, I would like to see your face. And unless the two of you are going to answer my questions honestly and tell me something useful, I think we're going to continue this conversation at the sheriff's station.
And I think Audra will kind of say, Special Agent Carter, you're being unreasonable. I'll remind you, she has big sunglasses on. You're being unreasonable, Special Agent Carter. We haven't done anything wrong. Sure, perhaps we're squatting at this house, but that's not of interest to the United States government. We've told you everything we know about Patty Ross. Now, unless you have a warrant for our arrest, I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
Just out of character. I can arrest them for 24 hours, right?
So mechanically, if you confront anybody who's a part of the conspiracy or supernatural, you will die automatically. So like you can't fight them or anything. Like you always lose that. So
okay.
But I'll give you plenty of warning. Like if it's going to go to that, right? You can do whatever you wish, and they'll react however they want. But once it gets
okay,
what you can do is run. Okay.
Okay, that's good to know. And formally, if I'm special agent, I think I'm allowed to do that, right? I can just take them in for 24 hours or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I mean, you can do whatever you want, right? I mean, you have a badge, but you might be in the wrong, but that won't,
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to try. Okay, Mrs. Maxwell, I'm really not in the mood of parading you and keeping you locked up, but I don't feel that the two of you were honest with me. And I have my reasons to believe that you have something to do with Miss Ross' disappearance. So unless you give me something, I will need to take steps. What do you say? Let's be reasonable here.
And she just says, I don't have time for this. We're already late. And she just tries to push past you. What do you do?
Okay. I'm going to grab her hand
Mm-hmm.
and try to stop her.
You can. And she'll say, get your hands off me. Then what?
Okay. Okay, I think I'm going to arrest her.
Okay. Sounds good. Ambrose is like, he's like kind of backs off and he's like, this is an outrage, an absolute outrage, tyranny of the state. That's what this is. and he kind of like puts his hands up, but of course they're covered by this heavy purple cloth. They're this light, flowy purple cloth. He kind of puts his hands up like he's frightened, and he just like runs to the back room.
Okay.
While you're kind of manhandling her, and she's just screaming, "Get your hands off me! Get your hands off me!" Right?
Calm down. We're going to have a chat at the sheriff's station, and you'll be back home in no time. The more honestly you talk with me, the quicker this will go.
And she'll go with you.
Okay.
She doesn't really have a choice, right? You are kind of frog marching her out. She says, "Did you bring a car? Are we walking to the sheriff's station?"
I think I'm.
You could have brought a car. It's fine.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to take her with a car. So I'm going to get her into the sheriff's station. I'm going to fingerprint her and take a photos and do some kind of
that. Let's
okay.
say you're in the car. You can put her in the car, and that's
okay.
perfectly fine. Well, so back to this other scene. I need a quick bio break. Let's take a real quick bio break.
Yeah. Ambrose ran away, right? So
He ran to the back of the house. Yeah.
yeah, so I wouldn't be able to apprehend him.
Yeah, I think it's kind of either Archer or him, basically.
Yeah, okay.
Indeed, indeed.
Oh, we can reroll. So
Yeah, if you add your insanity die, you can if you need a higher result. But you guys have been hitting pretty high results without needing to do that. So, but every time you do, if you reroll, you risk your insanity die again. Basically, you have to.
okay. Huh.
Yeah, the reroll is just if you need to beat someone who's rolling against you, or if you want a higher result on the spectrum. Like every roll is basically a success. It's just degrees of success, right? So, I think we're just waiting on Tomer. It might be helpful to recap a little bit what's going on while we're waiting on Tomer. So we know that Patty Ross is in this house. She was doing paintings. She's gone missing. There is a lot of hint that maybe she was the bride, right, last year. A little on the edges, that's been kind of like alluded to or hinted at least the idea that as players, you might be putting that together. We know about Ambrose, his foul smell. These people cover their faces and body up a lot. That's a thing that happens. We've seen what one of the golden mask individuals looks like behind their mask. It could have just been like a deformity or a burn, but it definitely was not. It was definitely unnerving. We know that there's a yellow star, which portends the end of the festival, right? It's a sign once it shows that we're moving towards the end of the festival. So that's kind of where we're at with all of that.
So in Cthulhu Dark, there is no option of like handling the missiles, right? We can only survive.
Yeah, you can't fight anything, and all you can do is just survive or not go insane. So, Raul, once you see those people, you saw them, and the person you're talking to did not see them. What do you do?
I am afraid to move, and I mean,
did your insanity go up?
Yes.
Okay. So you're at what, 3 now?
3 now, I think.
Okay. All right. You're on the field, so we can't see it when you have your cursor on the field. So.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, do they look like they're going to move anytime soon, or?
If you look again, they're not there.
Okay.
It's like they just blinked away.
I'm gonna go find a more familiar face, so like either Holly or
Sure.
Rain.
Yeah. How about Holly?
So I think the way I kind of see it is she was probably looking for the perfect place or a place to paint the mural. And I think in her head, and especially with Rain saying it in the background earlier, she's thinking that that first image she had of the Duke and whatever, she's going to not the Duke, sorry, the what was it? Was it the Duchess of the
There was the Duchess. There was Elb, the traitor.
right?
There's a king.
Yeah, so that I think that first image she's going to kind of return to that, and I kind of like the idea of she finds like this perfect spot, and it's just kind of like in the middle of the party, like in the living room or something, and she's going to just try to tune out everybody else, even though people may be giving her some attention, but just start painting away. And again, in her head, she's got like the what she drew, and there was the blank spot she didn't finish. And I think she knows that she has to repaint the stuff she's seen before she can get to the whatever that is. But that's like,
that's a progression. I like it. Roll. You might learn something here, right?
Okay. Am I rolling 2? Is this like an art thing, or it's just like?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can risk insanity too if you want to do that. You can also choose to risk insanity after you see the result as well. So
yeah, let me. I'll wait. Okay. So let me roll 2 first. Oh, a 4 and a 6. Yeah, I just stick with that.
Sure. Good result. You're doing your painting, and you're painting a scene of you've got the procession, right? You're kind of continuing that whole thing, and the scene like ends with it appears to be in a wood. Like they've left the Yellow City and it's proceeded out to like a wooded area. And you paint the king. The Yellow King is standing before a group of people. And in between the Yellow King and this group of people, there is a big black hole in the ground. Okay. Big black hole in the ground in the middle of the woods. And you also paint something in the scene, something very specific in the terrain or the geography that you would recognize if you saw it in the real world. What is it?
It's a tree stump that has been crudely carved into kind of like a crude throne. Nothing ornate, but it's like definitely a chair of some sort.
Yeah, like that.
And I think it's something that I grew, like something I've seen in my life for real, right? But like it's in there.
I think as you're like painting this like sort of free association stream of consciousness painting that you're doing, I think just the act of doing that is drawing you deeper into this, right? Like it's causing you to like lose yourself a little bit, right? So give me an insanity roll.
I love it when you ask for the insanity. It just kind of rolls off your tongue at the very end of the. And give me an insanity roll. Okay. A 6. Yeah, so that's going up. So I'm at 4 now.
Okay. Well, so how are you feeling? Like, how are you feeling about this like sort of strange, weird, quasi-prophetic power that you're drawing and paintings have? Not really prophetic, but definitely like ominous, right?
Yeah, I think there's a part of me which gets lost in it. So, I'm not even self-analyzing so much. It just kind of keeps sucking me in. I'm feeling this pattern because like even as I'm drawing this, right, all these probably the party goers and people in the living room will come up and like, oh, hey, that's cool, man, blah, 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 and whatever. Yeah. But like half the time, instead of sounding like, just some hippie or party dude or whatever, it's starting to blur into almost like the background of the revelry that the Yellow King would have, or so like everything just kind of
And I think one of the people who comes by to like kind of like look over your shoulder or whatever, we'll name this character Jeremy, young guy. He says, I've seen that, pointing at that wooden chair. He's like, I've seen that exact thing in the woods.
Like here? These woods? Because I know I've seen it, but...
Yeah, I've seen it here in the woods. Like, I could totally show you where it is. I've seen it. Have you been there?
I don't, you know, it just reminded me of something I'd seen before. I haven't seen this one, but maybe it's like the one I'm drawing.
He's like, oh, this is so cool.
And
It's the Yellow City. Don't you see?
You know how to get out there?
Yeah.
You know where to find this?
Audra tells us all the time that we have to pay attention to stuff like this, weird coincidences, signs, new people. This is one of those things. This is the Yellow City reaching out to us. I don't know what it means, but I feel like we gotta go.
I'm looking around to see if any of the people who I know which are less involved are paying attention.
Well, that's when Raoul might step up, right?
Yeah, because I kind of had a plan to deal with some of this stuff tomorrow, but if someone knows where the wood location is, then for some reason I'm supremely confident about that I can handle going out there at nighttime.
We'll cut to that scene in a minute. We'll go to Rain for a sec. Rain, you've just been showed a piece of a script. It's totally unclear where this page like fits into the broader play of Dreams of the Yellow City. It's all very like disconnected. There's no context whatsoever. But how are you feeling right now, knowing that like you were described down to a very precise detail in the play? What do you do?
I keep reading to see what happens. Like, even if they're out of order, at least I can see like what it says this person is doing, the dreamer.
Yeah. The dreamer, the best thing you can tell is that at some point, at least the part of the scene that you've got, the dreamer has an audience with the Yellow Duchess for the purpose of being deemed worthy for some task. So what do you do?
So it doesn't freak me out anymore. It's just kind of weird, but like I'll give them back to whoever handed them to me initially, and just kind of be it's weird, but it's like, well, what are you gonna do about it? It's not like it's one of those odd things that it's not so weird that you need to actually do something about it. It's just kind of like unsettling. So I'll just kind of go about my evening here.
Yeah. Well, so in that case, let's cut back over to Raoul and Holly. So, yeah, you were looking over Holly's shoulder. Raoul, take it away.
So, what's this kid's name? Jeremy, right?
Jeremy, yeah.
Jeremy, okay. You know where this place is? This is the kind of for the final night performance, right? The wedding.
I don't know what it's for, but I know I've seen that chair. I know I've seen it. That stump.
We should go there. We should check it out.
In my picture, there's a hole next to that.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, was there a hole there too?
He's like, yeah, maybe. I mean, there are like caves and stuff all throughout that part of the hill, so possibly, yeah.
In my head, I'm thinking like maybe that's where Patty's at, or maybe somebody's like holding her there, or I don't know what. So I'm like, yeah, I'll come along.
Yeah, we should check this out. Okay, because on the final night, I need to be at the gem, and then I need to beat the procession to the final place so that I can see everything happen, right? So, you know.
If you want the full story. I mean,
right, exactly. So we should go.
I'm looking behind me for, like as an afterthought for Rain to see if she's paying attention. And, I feel like she's led me to this point. So I'm like, seeing if she's around.
Yeah, I mean, I'm around. I'm probably like on a couch, like with someone. But if you want to try,
I think I'd come over and just like grab your arm, your hand, and like try to pull you along.
And yeah, like I'll just kind of go along and like kind of put my arm around you. I'm like, I didn't think that you had it in you. Just pulling me away all for yourself, huh?
I kind of blush, but other than that, just don't say anything. Just kind of take you along with us. Thinking whatever it takes to kind of like bring another person I at least trust is not a local crazy. That'll be good.
Indeed. Special Agent Carter, you're in the car as you pull out of the driveway with
Yes.
Autumn
Sorry.
as
Go.
well. And she'll say, I think you're going to be sorely disappointed when you get to the sheriff's office. This may not go as you think it's going to go.
I'm stopping the car. What do you mean?
I just mean that the sheriff and I are old friends. We go back long, long ways.
I'm squinting my eyes, and I'm going to take off her glasses.
Oh. If you go for her glasses, you will see that her eyes are basically like the flesh of her eyelids and around her socket are completely fused together. She has no eyes. It's just like concave planes of flesh where her eyes should be. Roll insanity.
I'm rolling. And it's 6. Yay!
So you're going up to 4.
Great. Agent Carter is going insane. Slowly.
She says, well, now you're going to make me feel self-conscious, Special Agent.
What the fuck is going on here? What's going on with you people? And I see her before, right? In the she had like she had normal face at the
never.
bar.
She had a mask
no, never.
on
Okay.
at the bar.
Okay. Do you run a? What's going on here with this?
She says, my appearance frightens you, I can tell. But do not feel sorry for me, Special Agent, because this mark on my flesh is a sign that I have stared deep into the mystery of the Yellow City. It is nothing to lament. It is nothing to be ashamed of or sad about. But I'm still fundamentally a vain creature, and I like to put my best foot forward. So if you could hand me my glasses back, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, I will put them back on her face. Okay, so you're telling me that Sheriff will not help me.
No one will help you.
Well,
I don't know what happened to Patty Ross. It's no business of mine.
Did you talk with her? Did you meet her? Did you take her somewhere? Did you?
Are you going to push the issue? Like she's clearly being a little deceptive, right? I mean, she
yeah,
knows something.
I am going to.
Yeah, like I mean, what kind of pressure do you put on her?
Well, I think I'm going to go with, well, if you don't want to talk with me here and you think Sheriff won't help me, that we can always have a quick drive to Seattle, to the field office there. I'm sure they can help me. I mean, I'm going because I see that she is.
That's good.
She wants to stay here, right? So
that's good. Roll. Give me a roll. Yeah, give me a roll.
Okay, I'm going to go with 3 dice now.
Okay, good.
So 1 moment, I'm going to clear this and. Okay, and that's a 1 on the insanity dice and 2 6s on the other die.
She says, listen to me, Special Agent. Patty Ross knew what she was getting into. She walked willingly onto our stage. She willingly gave herself over as our bride. Where she is now? I don't know exactly. And she kind of smiles, except that I'm very jealous. Stick around when the yellow star is high in the sky. You might learn a little something about where she went. And then if you keep like if do you continue like driving like out towards the exit of the town?
No, I stopped. I mean, when she mentioned the sheriff is not going to help me, I'm like, I've hit my brakes, so I'm still probably on the driveway.
And then she looks at you and she says, Patty Ross is never coming back. Patty Ross is never, ever going to return to her family because she has a new life now. And you, Special Agent Carter, you are also never going back. This is the end of the line for you. I think you would find it most agreeable to open your mind up to the possibilities of the yellow star. Let it reach deep into you. Let it provide succor. Let it nurture you like it has nurtured me. And she kind of like puts her hand on your hand, and she says, go to the woods. And then she'll get out if you let her get out.
Yeah, I'm going to let her go. Okay, I'm going to go look for that couple of outsiders that I met.
Well, so let's talk about them
at the bar.
You guys have decided to hike up to the spot. Is that what's going on here with Jeremy?
Yep.
Indeed.
I may have procured some form of light, at least.
Yeah.
Just trumping around in the dark.
I'm actually still carrying the painting that Patty made of me.
Oh, good. Rain, what are you doing?
Walking with them. I probably kept that page, that single page that had my description on it, just because it was too weird.
Did anyone keep the elk mask by chance?
I might have ended up with it again.
Okay, because you had it when you first went in, right?
Yeah, I think it had come back around.
Yeah, I don't think it ever came to Mark. I don't think it ever got back to Mark.
I put it back on Mark at some point.
Okay, I thought you said you had it when you were like walking to the house. In any case, it's neither here nor there. If you want it, it doesn't matter if you have it or not. But I'm just curious, just visually, I'm kind of interested in it. So you're all kind of like trudging up a ways, like up into the hills, right? And it's quite dark. It's quite silent. The woods are not very. There's not much like sound of like animal life, like crickets and birds and things like that, owls, like nothing like that. It's very, very still as you're kind of like trumping up. Jeremy has a flashlight, so you guys have that at least. And yeah, you're just kind of making your way up. At a certain point, you get up a ridge to a bit of the winding road, right? That kind of goes up that kind of winds up around through the hills. And you guys are going to see the flash of like a cop, like little boop, 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 cop siren thing or whatever that was in the 60s. And a truck, a police vehicle is like kind of pulling up and kind of flashes its lights to indicate that it sees you and wants you all to stop. What do you do?
I quietly dispose of the small plastic bag in my pocket.
Indeed.
I mean, it's dark out here in the woods, right?
Yeah, it's fairly dark. Yeah.
I pull Holly down like into like behind a tree or a bush or something.
Right, good. So you're trying to hide from him, from the cop?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a roll. Okay. I'm gonna roll against you.
Okay. This is probably part of my profession.
Yeah. Hiding from cops. I'm here for it. I got a 5.
Well.
And then Holly, if you want to try to help, you can roll dice as well.
Okay.
Let's see. I got 2 1s, and I'll risk sanity to roll an extra die and then roll again if I need to.
What Holly get? Holly, did you roll a die?
Here, hold on. I'm rolling it right now. Oh, that's interesting.
You got a 4, it looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'll need a reroll then from you, Rain.
Okay.
So roll your sanity die first. See how that goes.
I got a 6.
Okay. That's enough to win, but also give me a sanity roll. See how that goes.
I got a 5, so it goes up.
Okay. You're going to escape. Describe that for me.
Well, yeah, I don't think that like we're running away. We're just gonna be out of sight and not bothered with having to talk to the cop. I just kind of like, I think I was still kind of walking near her, and when I saw that flashing light, just my reaction to get out of the way, and I just kind of grab her and pull her down behind a tree.
Good. You pull it down behind the tree, and are you still watching what's happening now?
Yeah, I don't know if we can watch, but we can definitely listen. I don't think we can move very much. We have to, if we move, we'll probably make noise.
Okay. As you, so you're down there, you're in this, you're watching, you're kind of down a ways, like maybe in a little, just a little ways down the ridge behind a tree, and the cop car is up there. Raul, what are you doing?
I am turning to face into the headlights of the cop car with my arms up, kind of not like someone's got a gun on you, but in that kind of friendly, hey, what's no problems here, officer. What do you want? That kind of
right. Okay, good.
Kind of body language.
I think Jeremy is too. Jeremy's like, hey, whatever, That
yeah, I'm like, don't worry, kid, I'll handle this. Because I'm like
exactly.
5 years older than everyone in this in that flop house.
Good. We'll get to that scene in a minute. While the two of you are behind the tree, you're both going to get a feeling that the Yellow City is near. You're going to get a feeling that it is reaching out to you from the heavens. And you'll know this. You'll see that star in the sky, that yellow star, bright, but also sort of sickly, pale yellow, right? And you don't ever remember seeing the star before, but I don't know if you guys are stargazers or not, but it's definitely there. What's the sensation that you have of the yellow star working its power on you? How do you feel it? What do you know?
I think for me, it's a feeling of getting close to where I'm supposed to be, right? I think if it feels like the paths are leading me to where I need to go, and maybe that's to find Patty or, something. Like, I think the goal of Patty is starting to get blurred with things, but it's definitely not something of like fear or it's not necessarily comfortable either. It's just like, it's the place you got to go. Like, that's, that path is becoming open.
Yeah. Give me an insanity roll, because the appearance of the yellow star's effect on you. And what about you, Rain?
I'm curious to see how the roll goes.
Oh, went under, finally.
That's good. I'd like to know how you interpret that, like, in a minute. What was your roll, Rain?
So I think that I'm feeling very much the same. It's like the place that you're supposed to be kind of feeling. And it's kind of like a trance kind of moment or feeling, like I'm not in control of myself. I'm just acting. Right. And we're hiding behind this tree, and I think I've just kind of like pulled Holly with me. And like when we see this star as we're looking out, I just kind of like put my arms like around her waist as we're both like looking out, and like kind of put my cheek next to her cheek, and I'm like saying things like, see, it's coming. It's the place for us to be. We need to go there. And like I don't even know what I'm saying. kind of come out of myself.
Good. Did yours go up, by the way?
Yeah, mine went up.
Okay. Gonna check on where you guys are all at. Raul, the cop, gets out. And he says, you two need to go back to wherever you came from. This is not a part of the woods you need to be in. Not a good part at all. You don't know. It's the sheriff. You guys haven't met him yet. But
Yeah. Well, as I understand it, this is where the festivities take place. You know, later on for the happening. So me and my friend here, we're enjoying the verdant scenery of the Pacific Northwest, and just, you know, giving the place a little recon. Ain't no harm in that, is there?
he just raises his gun and shoots Jeremy.
Holy shit. I run away into the woods.
Okay. Give me a roll. I'll roll against you.
Okay. I don't think this is going to help. It's going to end under my occupation. Although there was this one time in Bangkok. No, but I think a sanity die might be appropriate here. Well, it's a 5 and a 6. And the 6 is the sanity die.
Okay, I can't beat that. So
Oh, you can't beat that, can you?
Yeah.
Do it.
I think just roll insanity. I think just like seeing Jeremy murdered in cold blood with no explanation right in front of you. You assume murder. You got shot in any case.
And that goes up.
We're late enough in our Lovecraftian tale to have violence against characters, right? You just run.
Yeah.
Rain and Holly, you saw this too. You're aware of it as well. Do you guys just run?
I just grab Holly's mouth and like cover it and like try and hold really, really still.
You're gonna get away, Raul, but if Holly and Rain are just trying to like not react here, the cop is kind of like he had to know that there were more people around with you guys, right? He may have seen you in his headlights. He's like, you can tell he's like kind of looking around, like trying to find anybody else who might be around. You guys are probably terrified. I want to roll on that, see if he finds you.
I kind of like the idea that, I mean, because Rain was starting to talk a little cuckoo nuts, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I made my insanity roll. So when I was listening to her, it was just like, yeah, no, we are on the right path. She is right there. But like I was kind of more calm. I was in a calm place. But now I kind of see her like preventing me from breathing. And so like I'm also being quiet, but like I can't breathe unless I move and push her away.
Yeah. Who wants to be the principal roller on whether you guys get caught by the sheriff or not? Sounds like it's probably Rain, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Expertise.
No, it's not.
I'm rolling against you. Got a 5.
I have 4 on both dice.
Do you have a sanity to roll again?
Well, that was including the sanity, but yeah, I guess I'll roll again. Okay.
You can help again as well, Holly, if you wish.
I got a 5.
Okay. Was sanity higher?
Yeah.
Okay. I've got a thought for that.
So I have to roll to see if it goes up again.
Yeah, I roll that. Well, let me describe the scene first, then I'll have you roll it because it's going to be, I'm going to kind of roll us all up into one kind of thing here.
Okay.
So you're going to get away though. Like, give me that moment, like when he's like when he's like, you know, kind of looking around and you're like trying to just like stay so quiet, you know.
Yeah, we're just behind. We're on the other side of this tree. We heard the gunshot. We didn't see anything because we have our backs to that whole situation. And we heard the thump and we heard somebody running off into the woods. And then we hear him, instead of pursuing, he just starts to look around for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And we're just holding really, really still. And then like I think he just gets like a call on his radio or something and has to go back and deal with that because it's the 60s. He doesn't have like a hand radio. He can just hear his car like squawking at him.
Right. And the call on the radio that he gets, it's whatever it's a language you don't recognize. Like the voice on the other end of the radio is just like speaking words that are not a language you recognize at all. Like and he just like picks it. He just responds 10-4 and goes back up to his truck. Both of you roll sanity.
All right, I rolled under.
Okay. Keeping it together.
Yeah, I did too.
But otherwise, he'll drive off.
And I'll release Holly's mouth.
Indeed. Special Agent Carter, you've gotten this really cryptic warning message thing, whatever, from Audra. You've seen her weird face, and she's just making her way back to wherever she is going, walking down the street. What do you do? Where do you go?
I try to find that. So at this point, I'm like convinced that
you might be able to run into Raoul, right? Maybe running out of the woods or something.
Okay, that would be perfect because I'm like set on that. I won't find Patricia Ross, probably not myself, without any backup, and I'm now under impression that this couple that I met in the bar is they can share her fate. So I want to find them and get them out of here.
Yeah. You'll probably run into, I think, in the immediate term, because he was running out of the woods. You were running into Raoul, I think, looking scared and desperate.
Okay. Hey, Mr. Herzog. I'm waving at him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I will just stop my car near him or something like that.
Yeah. And I almost like run into the headlights and stare at you. And
what happened?
I mean, it takes me a while to get myself together. Like I'm in a panic.
I'm going to take out a small flask and hand it to him.
Okay, I'll take a big glug on that. And the sheriff just killed a guy, and the two young ladies, I think they're hiding in the woods.
Okay, jump in. Let's try to do something. Fucking local cops. I'm spitting out the window. I'm from government, Mr. Herzog, and I'm here to help. I always wanted to say that. Okay.
Let's just
into the woods.
You can find them all. But you can all be. It's late. It's late at night. It's probably like 10 or 11 p.m. at this point. You find the two frightened young women, and you're all together, right? So let's have that scene in the car. Like, what are you guys going to do? Where do you go from here? You just witnessed a murder.
So I'm under impression that local police force is working with those cultists, or
they'll tell you that it was the sheriff who did it.
Yeah, but I'm just going to restate the obvious. That's my style.
We have to leave. I mean, I'm not even gonna go get my stuff from the hotel. Okay, let's just screw it. Let's get out of here. Back to fucking Seattle or wherever.
I agree. Miss Olympia, Miss Rain.
Yeah.
We'll just nod. Get the hell out of here.
Okay.
Jump in the back.
As you guys are going down the road, are you going away from the town or into the town? Like, what direction are you heading?
I think we're going to go. I mean, we're not going into the woods, so that is some weird shit. So we are going to get out of the town as short way as possible.
Okay.
So maybe we will have like to go through the town but not through the city center or something like that, because there is it's only way.
Yeah, if you just pass through the main thoroughfare again, you can get you can get to the highway faster that way, right?
Okay.
You're driving through. No big deal. You're driving through, and you get you're kind of like driving like just outside of the town, right? You go through the main thoroughfare. You don't spot anything particularly interesting or worth your notice. But as you're driving, you have a split second to react. There's a person in the road. They appear to be naked and kind of hunched over, maybe squatting a little bit. And you catch them like Carter. You see them like they just like boom appear. Like, you know, you have to kind of like veer or whatever to not hit them. We'll assume you can do that. You stop. You know, and you can stop without hitting them. What do you do?
Okay, I'm going to take a careful look through the window.
Yeah. You see it's maybe a woman. It's a little unclear. They have no clothing on. They are kind of hunched over and kind of like limping down the road a bit. The arms appear to be like kind of like fused to the torso, like they can't raise up. No hair whatsoever. And the spine just like the spine is like just kind of like knobby and really like you know, like clavicles and spine and hip bone, right? Very pronounced and prominent. And they're just limping along. It's a very disturbing sight. Everyone roll insanity.
And 5. So it's
6 again.
Carter's
okay. Yeah. And I'm pretty fucking high at this point. Okay, I think I'm going to like lose it for a moment, and I'm just going to hit the accelerator and like maybe not run over, but do a glancing hit with a car. I just want to get out of this fucking town. And
Holly, the person will turn their face into the headlight momentarily, long enough for you to see half of a face, eye, lip, that's somewhat normal. The other half is just a melted plane of skin. It's Patty. Holly, you get to roll another insanity.
Right. So I made the first one.
Okay.
Let's roll another. Oh, how did you change the color? Somebody did that, or does everybody have a different color die in this roll for party?
You can change the color.
You can change on the right. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Nice.
Oh man.
Right. I'll be orange. When you hit the same number as the insanity number, does it go up?
No, it has to be higher.
Okay, so that I'm good. I think then at that point, like instead of it just being something that drives fear into me, like I see that and I'm like, oh, it's her. Like I found her, yes. And I'm thinking not, oh, how horrible the face, but like, you know, I feel like that empathy, like, oh, she's probably hurt. I need to go help her. If he starts hitting the accelerator, I'm just going to open the door and jump out. Like I'm just going to roll out the car.
All right, so here's the deal. Those of you who have hit 5, you have the option of suppressing mythos knowledge now. You guys are on the verge of like breaking, right? But you can choose to do something to suppress mythos knowledge. That is destroying some evidence of what's going on in Mercy Falls. Maybe even killing this person might be enough, right? Like who knows? But I mean, anything that like is you sufficiently like saying, no, this is not real, I'm destroying it. You have that option, in which case you have a chance of lowering your sanity back down. Rain, when you realize that Holly's about to jump out of the car, what do you do?
I wouldn't let her. I'd grab onto her.
You guys can roll against each other.
No, I don't.
Want to like not be stopped. You can be stopped. Yeah, that's fine.
No, I can be stopped. I think I'm just about to go out, but I'm probably not. Like it's just kind of like a gut instinct. Like, no, I've got to go out to my friend. If somebody grabbed me, I probably would just get stuck for a second.
I'm cool with being stopped. I mean, if I see that face, I will probably try to stop.
Yeah, because you know what you're looking for too. You know what Patty looks like.
Presumably. Yeah. So I'm going to hit brakes when I see the fight.
To which I will reply, "What the thing? What? No! Let's go." Why are you stopping?
I probably turned to Rain and I'm like, "No, it's Patty. We have to go help her. Did you see? She needs our help."
Who's Patty?
I have no idea. That is not anybody you know, little girl. Let's go.
If you're just standing there, it's almost like it takes her a minute to even realize you're there. Like she's not even aware of you until like a significant amount of seconds later, right? And then she'll kind of like her eye wide, and she'll just kind of like slur out like, "Help me."
Okay, I'm going to go out and get her into the car.
I'm gonna go help.
I'm gonna slide over into the driver's seat. It's one of those old American cars that you can.
The bench seat, or
Because I need this engine to still be running. While people are getting out.
Indeed. You guys can go out there to grab her. She seems a little dazed. She doesn't know what's going on. You see now as you get closer, you can see more of her body. It looks like just parts of her body have like kind of fused together, right? Like there's not much, like the skin on her back is really thin. You can see the bone, but the front, like where her breasts would be, they've just kind of like melted into this like just fleshy, lumpy mass on her chest, right? And she no longer has a belly button. Her fingers now you can see are like fused together. On one hand, it's just a mallet of like hand-sized flesh. And the reason why she's dragging one of her legs is because it's lost all semblance of a foot and a leg. It's just a sort of like a tube of pink flesh that she's dragging along the ground. Those of you who went out to grab her, whoever that was, you could give me another insanity roll, please.
Okay. I'm going with purple.
Oh, shoot. Oh, you have to change the color each time, huh?
It's 4.
Okay, you're holding it together.
So I'm good, yeah.
All right, let me re-roll. Oh yeah, I'm not good. So I go from insanity up to 5.
So I just want to wrap her in some kind of blanket and get her to the back seat and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, you can grab her. You can kind of take her back to the car. She's like, and she keeps saying, like, she just keeps like muttering over and over in this like sort of half slurred kind of speech, like, help me. And she will kind of like point up, like with her flesh mitt, kind of point up into the ridge line up above, and you'll kind of see what she's running from. Maybe there's a large, in the moonlight, it's a large slug about the size of like a car. You see it. It's sort of golden in color. It almost shimmers like it has scales in the moonlight, right? whoever's in the car won't see that. Whoever was helping her put the body inside will, and I need an insanity roll.
Okay. I'm doing good. And it's 1. Woo! Woo!
Yeah, I'm all right.
You can put her in the car.
Did you just get a 6?
No. Oh, No, that was the 6 I rolled last time.
Okay.
I changed to yellow.
Okay. I had purple, so I'm good.
But also the dice automatically order like highest to lowest. I don't know if anybody's paying attention to that or not. But you can all get in the car. You can bundle her up and put her in there.
Okay.
Where do you guys go? What do you do?
Seattle, I guess.
Oh, we can't hear you.
Away
Tom.
from
Reason.
here.
Just away, yeah.
Away.
So yeah, my plan is to get them to confess because I have like 3 witnesses of cop shooting a person here. So I want to like take this fucking city apart based on that.
But in the short term, you're driving.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, let's just go to epilogues. There's no other unless you want to try to suppress mythos knowledge somehow, there's nothing else to do.
No, I'm going to like roll on the edge.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got to leave in a minute or two, but yeah. So is Patty, like, how jacked up is she? Are we assuming we get her out of here?
Yeah, she's
Right.
yeah, and
Is she like mentally
it'll be a
stable?
minute. No.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, I think
And her condition is a complete medical mystery, right?
right. I kind of like the idea of I finally get to take care of her, like even in her form. So it's kind of like a way for me to get what I always wanted, which was some relationship with her. And even though I think her family kind of over time kind of pushes her away, I end up either in the institution that she's in, like maybe I'm next door. I think there's this part in my head where I'm always going to take care of her at the institution. And every morning I go to her room and, draw up these pictures of the Yellow City with her and talk to her about the Yellow City and things like that. And in fact, I move into the institution just to be close to her. Everyone's really friendly about that, and that way we can, like maybe I'm almost like a volunteer there.
It was so nice of them to let you move into the institution, right?
Yes.
So generous and kind. I love it. That's good. Any thoughts on your epilogue, Rain?
I think that our special agent tries to get everyone to testify. Rain does not testify. She doesn't want any part of anything that has to do with that town. Plus she probably wouldn't just testify on principle, but well, maybe at a murder, but she doesn't want anything to do with that town. She doesn't want to see any of those people again or anything else. She just moves, pulls up stakes and goes somewhere else. I think that she just goes to California, and has to do a lot of things to keep her mind off of what she saw. And so she kind of burns herself out. And I think that's mostly what happens to Rain.
Yeah. She copes with it in a haze of drug-addled days. Good. What about you, Special Agent Carter?
Okay. So I'm going to decide my fate with a roll, if that's good.
Sure.
Okay. So, yeah. So if I get any of them to testify, I think I'm going to build a case. And of course, we won't find any like solid supernatural, any supernatural stuff there. But we were going to like get a cop and maybe a few other people, and essentially, I think like the yellow cult will get away from that city.
They'll leave.
So,
to be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would have like feeling that I've done a good job and I've dealt with them, and yeah. And alternative was that I'm like I rolled, and if I would roll 6 on the insanity die, I would decide that I was like this crazy guy with obsession that was building and building and building, and nobody listened to me. And
yeah. You did manage to get the cops, though, or the
Yeah.
dirty cops. So that's good for murder. I like that. What about you, Raul? How does your story go?
Well, not that great. So we see Raoul at his home in Colorado. He's in his study, which is a book-lined room with just a mess, obviously. Mainly lined with books, partly lined with empty bottles, and typewriter on the desk and so on. He's just lying on the red leather couch that he has. Is on the phone, and from the other end of the phone call is the editor of Monsieur magazine. It's, Morris Pink, and he's just saying, Raoul, I love your stuff. I love it. But it's unpublishable. I mean, it starts off all right. I like the hippie vignettes. They're great. But it turns into a fucking Roger Corman movie by the end. This is Monsieur magazine, not Weird Tales. Now, and the other thing is, these expenses. Now, and then it sort of, it trails off, and Raoul by now is just lying there with the phone just on a receiver on his chest. He's not even listening. Just staring at the ceiling, and
Nice.
That's it.
Good.
I like that the story may show up in Weird Tales in a future month.
Indeed. Good. Awesome. Well, that was great. The Mythos monster was not actually a Mythos monster at all. It was just a sort of sorcerer who got in too deep with his study of the Yellow City and all that stuff, and the magic just gradually transformed him into the slug beast, right?
Was that Ambrose?
No. Just the thing you guys saw on the hill. But Ambrose was in communion with it. Ambrose was like receiving its wisdom, right? So, and yeah, the party will just move on to another city somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
There were specific things that drew the sorcerer to Mercy Falls, but yeah. Good. Awesome. Well, Tomer, we'll let you go. I will jump on to the debrief channel for a few minutes if anybody wants to. But otherwise, you guys have a great rest of your day, okay?